It all starts in a pretty standard corporate office. Or so it seems. The president, a mature guy with the face of someone who's lived more lives than your average main character, calmly looks through a drawer full of cigarette packs, each a different color, like he's picking his flavor of violence for the day. He finally picks one and pockets it like he's got all the time in the world. The secretary, looking like a waifu from a strategy game, reminds him it's time to leave. He, completely unfazed, adjusts his tie with a cigarette in his mouth, says he's just stepping out for a bit, and wishes her luck in the battle. The shareholder meeting. Nope, this is way more literal. As he walks off with the swagger of someone about to kick ass for fun, he mutters that he hopes the next guy puts up a fight. Like, he doesn't even pretend this is a tough mission. Dude's vibing way too hard. Looks like he's doing it for sport. Scene switch. The moon glows over a castle that looks ripped straight out of a JRPG cover. The Demon King's castle. And right at the gate, the classic adventuring party appears, led by a red-headed kid in a blue cape, dropping the iconic line, "At last! I've come this far." Yep, we've got ourselves a textbook Isekai protagonist. His name is Leo, and like any good Isekai lead, he got yoinked out of Japan by a sparkly goddess who urgently needed a savior to stop the demons. Basically, he got handed powers and a main quest out of nowhere. She gave him a magic gem, hit him with the guilt trip classic, "Only you can save us," and booted him straight into nightmare mode. Since then, Leo's been mowing down demons like their background NPCs, with a squad of girls who look like gacha game banner units. Between fights, he thanks the world, the goddess, his team. Basically anyone he can think of, because he feels like the final chapter is near. And of course, he closes it all with a smug smile that screams, "I'm the chosen one, bro." Leo takes a moment at the castle gates, glancing at his three companions: Ran, the spunky cat girl; Lilia, the intense elf swordswoman; and Mahal, the elegant mage with influencer energy. With a look like, "This party's got serious plot armor," Leo reflects on how lucky he is. Then, without hesitation, he gives the signal to move. The Demon King's castle doors swing open, and the crew walks in like they're making a tournament entrance. But the scene that greets them throws everything off. Sitting on the throne, looking bored out of his mind, is the president, just casually puffing a cig like he's waiting in line at the DMV. Leo shouts, "Prepare to be defeated, Demon King!" But the suited guy doesn't even flinch. He just exhales a lazy puff, radiating existential boredom. Then he drops the bomb. They're too late. The whole squad freezes. Mahal wonders if this guy really is the Demon King, while Ran and Lilia just kinda short-circuit. The man stands and gives a sarcastic bow, apologizing if he startled the ladies. Then he introduces himself as a recovery agent. That line throws Leo so hard he nearly drops his sword. The whole group looks like, wait, is this a side quest or what? When they ask where the Demon King is, the man casually says he asked him to step out for a sec. But here's the kicker. His target isn't the Demon King. It's Leo. And before the hero can even process that, the guy steps up, grabs his shoulder, and says a name that makes Leo freeze. Tanaka Naoto. Leo flinches. That name, clearly from his past life in Japan, completely shatters him. Before he can speak, his team reacts. Mahal insists she doesn't know any Tanaka, only the great savior Leo Celestia. Ran and Lilia nod, ready to back him up. The man, completely unbothered, confirms it. He knows exactly who Leo is, and says his name with a weird mix of shade and nostalgia. Well, the great savior Leo Celestia. You've climbed pretty high in this new world, huh? Things get awkward fast. The Sig guy starts tearing down Leo's hero persona with the precision of a roast battle champ. First, he calls out how Leo dragged around girls who clearly aren't built for war, just to feed his savior complex. Then he accuses him of having a messed up past, harassing women, being on probation, and even a violent incident with a sex worker. Every line hits like a brick, and Leo's barely holding it together. The blow is brutal. Leo stumbles and tries to deny it, swearing he doesn't know what the guy's talking about. But the president isn't letting up. Calmly, he drops the line. "It doesn't matter what world you're in, trash stays trash." And that smile when he says it. Absolutely soul-crushing. Taking advantage of the silence, the man turns to the girls and asks the nuclear question. Are they really here by choice? Their faces go dark. Mahal speaks first. She says Leo called himself a hero but forced her to join. Ran admits he saved her from a slaver, then used that to guilt-trip her into staying. And Lilia, hurt, says she thought it was for the greater good. Until all they brought was more bloodshed. Leo tries to defend himself, calling it all a misunderstanding, saying they're confused. But his voice is already breaking. He starts sweating, stumbling, and spiraling. This wasn't in the script, this isn't how it's supposed to go. His mind fractures under the pressure, and as the chaos takes over, he screams and blasts a fire spell, yelling at everyone to shut up. The perfect hero is breaking down in front of everyone. With his mind in ruins and pride gone, Leo unleashes his strongest move, Maximum Flame. A massive pillar of fire slams down on the president and the girls, engulfing them in flames while they look on like, yep, this went completely off the rails. The whole place erupts in fire and explosions. Leo stands there out of breath, with a nervous grin, staring at the mess he just caused. He starts laughing like a maniac, thinking he finally won. Says anyone who messes with his world deserves to burn. But just when he thinks it's over, a voice cuts through the flames. Good. Calm, but so serious that Leo freezes. He turns around and sees the president walking out of the fire, not a single burn on him, and his eyes glowing like a final boss in a video game. With that same chill face as always, the president walks up to him and says he respects guys with guts, but also makes it very clear he can't stand people who hurt women. Leo's panicking hard, no clue why his attack didn't work. The girls look at him in fear, while the president lights another cigarette like this is just round one. Leo's shaking. Between the cold sweat, the fear, and the confusion, the only thought in his head is, this dude's not human. The president's not just still standing, he's still smoking. And then he hits Leo with a line that just wrecks him. Calm as ever, he says Leo's level is beneath trash. Yeah, straight up like that. Leo freezes while 1,000 alarms go off in his head. Who is this guy? What is even happening? Nothing makes sense anymore. The president begins explaining, super chill, that he's on a mission. From who? None other than this world's god. Leo can't believe it. The same god who summoned him to save the world now wants him gone? The president confirms it plain and simple. The power that God gave Leo is being repossessed. That's it. His job is to take it back and ship Leo home. Basically, return to sender. Leo goes into full meltdown. Desperate, he pulls out his sword and warns the president not to come any closer. But the guy just walks forward, totally unfazed. Leo loses it and charges with his flaming sword, screaming in pure panic. And what happens? The president blocks it with a business card, like someone swatting a fly with a brochure. Leo stares in disbelief, unable to process how that's even real. The president, cool as ever, finally introduces himself. His name is Hasuda, and he works for the Lotus Recovery Agency, specialists in reclaiming anything. Skills, bodies, debts, whatever's needed. And yes, he's the actual president. He hands over the card he just used like it's a regular business meeting. The card says it clearly, "We recover anything for you." Then, repeating Leo's full name, he delivers the cold line, "That power you've got now belongs to us." Leo hits full panic mode, cursing like it's his last prayer. He looks at his teammates in despair, but they're staring back at him with horror and disbelief, realizing the monster their so-called hero has become. Losing whatever sanity he had left, Leo snaps in pure rage. He screams as he unleashes his dark power, summoning creepy black chains that violently snatch the girls toward him. They're caught off guard, terrified, unable to fight back, completely immobilized. The vibe is no longer just tense. It's like a horror movie hostage scene mixed with an existential meltdown. With the girls at his mercy, Leo tries to bargain in full desperation, demanding the president leave right now or else he'll finish them off. The president just watches the scene unfold like he's sitting through a bad soap opera, waiting for the final twist. But Leo takes it even further, smiling like a total lunatic and swearing he won't hesitate to end them all. The girls, broken inside and out, barely whisper words of hate. The cat girl manages to say straight to his face that he's not a hero, just a monster in a human skin. Leo, completely unhinged, screams at her to shut up and hits her without a second thought. In full delusion, Leo starts ranting, saying it doesn't matter what he's done, hurting women, taking lives, he's still needed by this world. His true nature's now fully exposed, and there's no doubt anymore about what kind of villain he really is. Watching all this, the president smirks slightly. He sarcastically comments that the last guy whose powers he reclaimed said the exact same dumb stuff. Then mockingly wonders if that attitude is trendy now or something. After that brutal reality check, Leo starts to mentally break down. The president, still totally relaxed, looks at him with disgust and says that guys like him always end up the same, spouting the same garbage once they're cornered. Leo, refusing to accept defeat, makes one last desperate move, screaming in pain and rage as he channels a ridiculous amount of magical power. He's so unstable it's like watching a short-circuiting power line. With his eyes bulging, he unleashes his most extreme attack yet, firing off a hellish tornado of flames that threatens to vaporize even the girls he claimed to protect. The president watches it all without budging an inch. And just when it looks like it's over for the girls, he casually lifts one hand and with a simple snap of his fingers, shuts down the entire storm of magic, leaving everyone stunned, and the girls free from the dark chains. As everyone stares in shock, the president, cool as ever like he's picking up a takeout order, grabs a magic crystal he just snatched from Leo. He calmly announces that the recovery has been successfully completed, even thanking Leo with mock politeness for his unintentional cooperation. Leo collapses to the ground, confused and completely lost, as the president keeps explaining how, by showing his true colors so clearly, he made the whole job way easier. Then he drops a bombshell that leaves Leo more shook than ever. Now that his power's been taken, Leo's returned to his original body from Earth. And in front of everyone's completely stunned faces, there's no longer a handsome blonde hero pretending to be someone he's not. Just a messy, average dude named Tanaka Naoto. Tanaka Naoto looks at his hands, completely lost. He's no longer the dashing hero he pretended to be, but his original self, a messy, average guy who looks like he got kicked out of a Monday morning office meeting. The gray-haired guy in front of him watches with a half-smile and cold eyes. It's Hasuda, who seems to be enjoying every second of this public humiliation. With a mocking tone, he asks how it feels to be back in his real body, after all that time pretending to be someone he never was. Tanaka, barely processing any of this, starts hyperventilating. The girls notice it too. That's not Leo, that's a total stranger. A complete fraud. Tanaka breaks down, screaming that the body was his, that it was a divine gift, that it's not fair to take it away. He begs, sobs, throws a full toddler tantrum, pleads for it back, like that'll somehow restore a shred of dignity. But Hasuda breaks him even harder, tells him that God never chose him. There was no destiny, no prophecy, just a mistake. A cosmic screw-up that's now been fixed. And as if that wasn't brutal enough, he blasts Tanaka to the ground with force, like tossing out trash that started to stink. Tanaka curls up into a ball of despair, begging for forgiveness. Says he's learned his lesson, promises never to do it again, pleads to stay. But Hasuda, totally chill and not even bothering to argue, pulls out his phone and calls it in. Says he's got the body, come pick it up. Then, he changes his mind. Says he's giving Tanaka a second chance. And he doesn't mean it in a motivational, you got this way. He means it literally. He's going to be reborn. How? In classic ISEKAI fashion. By summoning a dimensional truck that smashes through the barrier between worlds like it's straight out of a fantasy soap opera. The truck shows up with flashing lights and screeching brakes. The girls can't believe their eyes. Hasuda smiles calmly, and when a guy steps out of the truck, he thanks him like he's his regular Uber driver. Tells him, as always, he was fast and super helpful. Out steps a figure that does not look human. Its head is like a half-cooked mutant tentacle, and its presence could freeze anyone's soul. He introduces himself as the cargo master, though he looks more like the final boss of a nightmare factory. Tanaka, what's left of him, screams, "Monster!" with the same energy as someone finding a giant scorpion in their bed. But no one else reacts. The new guy just asks if the package is ready. And Hasuda, totally unfazed, hands over Tanaka like he's an Amazon return. says that while he looks gross, the contents are fully intact. Guaranteed. The cargo master checks his package like someone inspecting a box of mangoes. No damage, no rot. Tentacle Head seems satisfied. The body's in good condition. Hasuda is already closing the deal. And just like that, Tanaka is sold. From here on out, his fate depends on the new owner. Tanaka tries to fight back, kicks, screams, drags himself, but they haul him away like a sack of potatoes. He begs to be released, says it hurts. No one answers, and they toss him into the truck like old furniture. And that's when Tanaka meets his new family. A group of goblins, all with glowing red eyes, slowly surrounding him, whispering, "Cold, cold. Help me." Like ghosts from a J-horror flick. Tanaka screams in terror, tries to get away, but the creatures hold him tight. In the middle of this waking nightmare, Tanaka lifts his head and asks Hasuda if this is what he meant by reborn. Hasuda, with his classic hell bureaucrat smile, confirms. Yep, he'll be reborn, just never said as a human. Tanaka freezes while the goblins grab him, dragging him into the darkness, ready for the next step in his transformation. And just when you think it can't get any weirder, the ISEKAI truck slams shut with a loud thunk. The girls watch in tense silence as the cargo van prepares to drive away. As the interdimensional truck fades into the distance, Hasuda turns around and is surprised to see the girls still standing there. He asks if they shouldn't be heading home now that it's all over. Even throws out a sarcastic line, the so-called hero has a new job now. So what are they waiting for? The three look at each other, uneasy. They've got every reason to leave, but none of them knows how to get home. Hasuda picks up on it, sighs, and with a laid-back gesture, says he'll handle it himself. But before leaving, he gives them one last piece of advice. Don't let yourselves get fooled again by guys like that. With a single clap, the girls are teleported back to their respective homes. Now alone, Hasuda checks his cigarette pack, notices he's out, and grumbles. But even that doesn't break his cool. He smiles calmly and tells himself he'll grab one on the way home. Because yeah, after collecting failed ISEKAI cases and dealing with fake heroes, the only thing on his mind is restocking his nicotine. The scene shifts dimensions, taking us back to the modern world, where a building called Black Dragon Castle appears. There, a mysterious white-haired girl in a fantasy-style long dress is clearly lost among the streets, signs, and humans. She talks to herself, trying to find Hasuda's office, but she's more lost than a tourist in Japan without Google Maps. While wandering, she accidentally bumps into a pretty intimidating guy. She apologizes immediately, but the man just stares with glowing red eyes and says nothing, and she freezes in fear. Suddenly, she hears someone mention a cash exchange point, exactly what she's been looking for. The guys from earlier are dropping a handful of glowing gems on the table. The old lady running the place examines them, and without much fuss, hands over a wad of bills. Minus her cut, of course. But one of the guys isn't happy at all with the result. He says there's no way that's the right amount, that they're being scammed. And in the background, the white-haired girl just watches, wondering if that granny is gonna make it out alive after pulling a stunt like that. The tension rises in the shop as the two goons start threatening the old gem exchange lady. They shout that she doesn't recognize the real value of the stones, call her an old witch, and even pull out a knife to teach her with a little pain. It's looking like they're seconds away from doing something very stupid. But then, a shadow rises from behind the counter. Not a sweet little granny. This lady's got a tongue longer than a CVS receipt and a look that's half demon, half mafia boss. With a monstrous transformation that'd scare any shonen villain, she lets out a terrifying scream and grabs the two punks like they're trash floating in a river. One of them tries to bribe her with extra coins, but it's way too late. She doesn't do cheap bribes. Gives them a choice: hand over something actually valuable, or she'll rip out their souls the hard way. Just as things are about to explode, Hasuda strolls in like it's just another Tuesday, greets her casually, and calls her Auntie Shiba. She immediately calms down at the sight of him and greets him sweetly, calling him President. Within seconds, her demonic form vanishes and she's back to looking like a bakery grandma. The white-haired elf who saw everything is left completely stunned watching this woman shift from hell boss to sweet old lady with just one hello. They chat like nothing's wrong, even with two guys trembling on the floor. They joke, say it's been a while since they saw each other because work's been crazy. Hasuda comments, half joking, half not, that broke folks like him don't get days off. The line makes the goons sweat even more. They're full panic mode now. Auntie Shiba kicks them out with a scream, promising to eat them whole if they show their faces again. They run without looking back. Then, as she stores the gems like nothing happened, she grumbles about how today's reclaimers are just talentless thugs. She and Hasuda sit down to talk shop. She notes that lately, lots of newbie reincarnates have been popping up, but none with the quality merchandise he brings in. Hasuda hands her the shiny blue crystal, saying this piece has actual value. The old lady inspects it and smiles, clearly impressed. The scene ends with Hasuda dropping a line that hits harder than it should. This job's tough, and if you last 5 more years, you're already lucky. We finally get a look at the whole system behind the recovery agency. Turns out, since gods can't directly interfere with the worlds they manage, they hire agencies like Hasuda's to recover the powers of reincarnated folks once they're no longer useful. Basically, they treat them like defective products or buggy updates. And yes, all the gods are clients. Because they're desperate to boost world performance like overworked middle managers. With no better ideas, they keep flooding worlds with reincarnates, giving them ridiculous powers to speed up change. But that just makes things worse. And when everything spirals, they come crying and begging the agency to bail them out. So what's the problem? When you hand that much power to a regular human, there are only 2 outcomes. They either rebel and destroy everything, or vanish and leave an economic crater the size of a black hole. That's why Hasuda says the current model is doomed to fail. Auntie Shiba, curious, asks if he's got any advice for better recovery. Hasuda thinks for a second, and gives a response that's more cryptic than helpful. Says it's like peeling a raw egg without breaking it. Pulling out just the inside without ruining the shell. Shiba stares at him like he just spoke dolphin, doesn't get it at all, but laughs anyway. After leaving the shop, Hasuda is approached by the white-haired elf, who now formally introduces herself. She's the goddess Artias. She thanks him for handling Tanaka Naoto, and asks how he's doing. Hasuda answers bluntly, the guy's starting from scratch, working hard. But of course, his body's been modified so much, he's no longer human. Right now, Tanaka lives as a goblin miner in a cave, smashing rocks day and night. And the worst part? His redemption arc will take about 200 years. Artias is horrified. Says that's way too long, it's cruel. But Hasuda gives her a look that says, I don't make the rules, I just enforce them. And reminds her that the recovery agency doesn't run on morals or ethics. If she's the one who sent him to that world, then she better live with the consequences. Before leaving, he gives her one last warning, in that sarcastic yet menacing tone. If she wants to stay pretty, she better not show up around here again. Because in that world, even goddesses can end up mining rocks if they mess with the wrong system. While Hasuda relaxes on a park bench like a classy retiree, his assistant calls with unexpected news. New clients are looking for him. And not just any client, one who's detected something strange. Apparently, there's a reincarnate living nearby who asked for a peaceful life. But his happiness level is so high, it looks like he's hacking the system with pure positive vibes. The camera shifts to that mysterious place. A corner filled with happy people sipping magic mushroom tea like it's a 5-star spa with lo-fi beats playing in the background. Everyone's smiling and giving thanks while the host, Magna-sama, serves them with a serenity that feels straight out of a meditation app commercial. Hasuda suspects something else is going on. He agrees to the meeting and heads back to the office, where he's met by a very peculiar woman named Kagaya Mira. Yes, woman, who's requesting a skill recovery service. Hasuda introduces himself as the president. He's joined by Oya Yagi, a humanoid dragon with a permanent scowl who acts as his bodyguard or field agent. Also with them is Itakura, a silver-haired young woman who handles intel and seems to have more patience than the rest of the crew combined. After the formal introductions, Kagaya lays out her case. They recently got a reincarnated guy who only asked for crafting skills. No superpowers, no explosive magic, no insta-harem. Just wanted to make pretty things and live in peace. And, well, he's really pulling it off. The region where this guy lives has turned into a happiness paradise. Everyone's smiling, getting along, no drama, no chaos. But that's exactly the problem. The happiness meter is off the charts, and it's raising red flags among the gods and magical bureaucrats. Because in this universe, if something's going too well, odds are, it's hiding something. The scene kicks off with a visual explanation of the emotional balance that keeps the world stable. Happiness, pleasure, anger, and sadness all have to stay in harmony, or the system's performance crashes. Right now, happiness is overpowering everything else, and the system's manager is freaking out, afraid she'll get fired from Olympus HR. She admits these cases always go sideways and begs Sir Lotus, head of the agency, to fix the imbalance before she's booted. Lotus agrees, but charges his usual fee. He keeps half of everything he recovers. Not a cent less. With the deal sealed, Lotus and his dragon bodyguard Oya Yagi head off into the forest. Yagi brags that he's leveled up since the last mission, but his confidence dips when they reach a spiked wooden wall. The target village looks more like a luxury prison than a happy town. As the assistants discuss infiltration plans, Lotus puts out his cigarette and gives them a crash course in business etiquette. You walk through the front gate and greet people head-on. Period. Crossing the gate, the contrast is jarring. Sunny meadows, freshly sheared sheep, overflowing gardens, and neighbors singing as they work. The star of the show is Lord Magna, a young craftsman dishing out good mornings and earning dreamy sighs like he's handing out happiness coupons. Everything's so perfect it actually hurts. And that's exactly why they're there. But not everyone's smiling. Marie, a villager, is distressed because her husband left town 3 months ago and never came back. Her friends try to comfort her, but she ends up alone, crying on a tree stump. Before the tears hit, a gentle hand dries her face and asks her to stay calm. Still shaken over her husband's disappearance, Marie is comforted by Lord Magna, who explains that he personally sent Thomas to a distant city to gather tea ingredients. He assures her it's an important mission and nothing to worry about. Seeing she's still upset, he hands her a small bottle of violet liquid and suggests she drink it. Marie accepts and sips the potion. The moment it touches her lips, a wave of calm washes over her. The tea, made just for her, kicks in instantly. She smiles and says it's delicious. Just like that, her anxiety vanishes like it was never there. Back with the others, even Marie is surprised at how different she feels. Suddenly, the whole situation doesn't seem so serious, and she laughs softly, realizing maybe she overreacted. The kids and neighbors cheer for her improved mood, and Magna watches, satisfied, from afar. The villagers quickly express their gratitude. They all agree that since Magna arrived, the village has bloomed. Thanks to him, they can live in peace and joy. Magna accepts their praise humbly, but doesn't hide his true goal. He wants everyone in the village to be happy. Deep down, he vows to do whatever it takes to protect that happiness. Meanwhile, Oya Yagi uses the moment to pet a sheep, until his boss dryly asks since when he's into livestock. Suddenly, Magna notices the strangers and tenses up. They don't look like locals. He watches them with suspicion. The strangers greet politely. The president casually compliments the village. But when he calls him Ito Takashi, Magna freezes. The villagers whisper, confused, wondering if that's another name for Lord Magna. He stands silent, shocked. How do these men know his real name? Magna returns the greeting respectfully and introduces himself as the village chief. Hasuda, cool as ever, thanks him for the welcome and hands him a business card, introducing himself as a rep from the Lotus Recovery Service, accompanied by his subordinate Oya Yagi. They're not tourists. They were sent by a deity, with a clear mission, to collect his skill. The tension spikes when Hasuda reads the name on the request. Ito Takashi. Magna goes pale. Though he tries to stay composed, he doesn't understand why they're calling him that. He insists his name is Magna and says he doesn't know any Ito Takashi. Hasuda, puzzled, checks the documents and asks Yagi to read the history out loud. University graduate, corporate worker, seminar organizer. All matching his previous life. The confusion grows deeper. Magna still denies the identity, saying all he wants is for his village to be happy. The villagers immediately rally around him, defending him passionately. Some even yell at the visitors to leave him alone. Hasuda stays calm, But Yagi starts to notice something strange. The whole village seems caught in the same emotional trance. Everyone is way too loyal to Lord Magna, like he's their personal messiah. Things are heating up, but Magna raises a hand to quiet the crowd. With a diplomatic smile, he reassures them it's fine. Then, with perfect grace, he invites Hasuda and Yagi to his home for tea and a more relaxed conversation. Oya Yagi reacts with annoyance to Magna's offer, thinking he's messing with them. But Hasuda, calm as ever, says he's touched by the hospitality. Magna responds with serenity, saying it's his duty as village chief to treat guests well. Without further delay, he invites them to his home, while a few villagers watch nervously. The trio arrives at a simple but nicely decorated cabin, where Magna greets them politely and begins preparing tea for everyone. Meanwhile, Hasuda silently wonders if they're about to walk into something unexpected. A trap? A trick? A threat? Once seated, Hasuda cuts to the chase. He wants to get to the main topic. Magna agrees without hesitation and confirms he understands why they're there. He knows they came to recover his power. But when the young man's confidence shows, Yagi asks if he even gets what a recovery actually means. Magna doesn't flinch. He serves tea kindly and answers yes, though he suggests they not let it get cold. Hasuda, after a moment of doubt, tries it. And to his surprise, he likes it. Still, he stops his partner from drinking his. Then Magna starts explaining his skill. It's not just about brewing potions or fixing things. His power is flexible and practical. As he speaks, he draws a magic circle that lights up the floor and creates an energy field beneath Hasuda's feet. Without warning, the ground opens up and both agents fall into a dimensional trap. Hasuda keeps his cool, even while falling, cigarette in hand. Yagi, on the other hand, panics completely. Magna watches from above, calm as ever, making it clear that his talents go way beyond crafting. He doesn't just make stuff. He builds complex traps in a single move. He waves them goodbye, convinced they won't be meeting again. The two collectors crash into what looks like some kind of underground tunnel. Hasuda lights his lighter and takes in the place. An old waterway with a nasty smell hanging in the air. Looking for his partner, he finds him lying on the ground, alive, but dazed. Yagi tries to get up, but immediately freaks out when he spots a skull covered in purple mushrooms right in front of him. They continue through the area, discovering more human remains invaded by the same fungi. Hasuda quickly deduces they're parasitic mushrooms growing on skeletons, and Yagi, without realizing it, already has one stuck to his head. When Hasuda points it out, Yagi freaks out, unable to pull it off. As they walk through the tunnel, Hasuda concludes this is all Magna's doing, but calmly adds that tricks like this don't work on him. Still, with a disturbingly chill tone, he warns Yagi not to breathe too much down there. They've seen enough. Anyone who crosses Lord Magna ends up as mushroom mulch. With that in mind, Hasuda suggests continuing the exploration and uncovering the dark side of the Happy Town. His cigarette still lit, they keep moving. But before going much further, Yagi stops, alarmed. Something's coming. A monstrous foot steps out of the shadows, covered in mushrooms. Something's about to show itself. A new character stumbles into view, and honestly, he looks like a textbook example of how not to do alchemy. His skin's drier than old parchment, and mushrooms sprout from his nails. His blank stare and mumbled words make you wonder if his brain's still in there, or if it's been replaced by spores. Our guys watch him approach like, what kind of walking mushroom nightmare is this? The fungus guy asks who they are and how they got there. Hasuda reveals they're recovery agents sent to take Magna's power, accusing him of being a fraud. The infected man, confused, asks if they can really take that power. The suited man, with a salesman smile, confirms they can, but they'll need to shake things up and expose the guy's true nature. Before they leave, the poor infected man tries to stop them. He begs them to warn his wife and the villagers to run. Magna is a real threat. Barely standing, he drags himself forward, shouting for them to tell everyone to get out. Hasuda turns slowly and drops. And what do we get out of that? The infected man promises to spill all of Magna's secrets. He racks his brain, clearly feeling the clock ticking. Finally, he collapses. Exhausted, the fungus almost fully claiming him. But he manages to grab Hasuda's attention with his offer: valuable info in exchange for warning the villagers. Hasuda, with that classic "this just got interesting" look, agrees to hear him out. By the fire, the man starts spilling the truth like he's peeling mushrooms off his soul. He reveals that everyone in the village is under Magna's control. Not with magic, not with threats, with mushrooms. Yep, literal mushrooms. Anyone who consumes them feels such intense euphoria that they give up their body, soul, and common sense to Master Magna. Using that high, Magna took total control of the village. Oya Yagi looks like he just learned gravity's fake, while Hasuda starts connecting the dots. The infected man recalls how it all began. The village was small and simple, but people lived in peace. Then one day, Magna appeared. Messiah smile, powers straight out of a sci-fi loot box. Strange tech, miracle meds, mysterious abilities. In no time, he had everyone wrapped around his finger. Every elder, every leader, fell for him. Until even Thomas, the narrator, realized too late. In a bittersweet flashback, Thomas talks to his wife Marie, who's now fully devoted to Magna's cult. To her, Magna didn't just fix the village's problems. He did it so well that no one even talks about anything else. Her devotion runs so deep that when Thomas questions it, she just says there's no need for a reason to worship a god. And she says it with a smile more chilling than cute. By the time he realized it, most of the villagers were already Magna's slaves. The guy didn't need chains or whips, just mushrooms with built-in mind control. And like some conspiracy theorist with receipts, the guy gathered the few sane folks left to investigate this so-called Magna. What they found was explosive. Every piece of food Magna handed out was laced with spores that hijacked free will. And even worse, he was planning to spread those mushrooms beyond the village, like a gourmet drug lord with expansion plans. Just when they managed to gather proof, Magna found out, and of course, he wasn't gonna let it slide. He played it cool while dropping an arrogant line about how wise rats never find happiness. Then the worst came to light. All of the young man's allies were slowly consumed by the fungus, used as human fertilizer to grow more mind control shrooms. Straight up psychological horror movie material. Even Oniyagi and Hasuda are shook by how twisted the plan is. Barely alive, the guy hands Hasuda a memento from his comrades and a letter, begging him to open the villager's eyes. As he literally crumbles into spores, he whispers one last wish: for everyone to wake up. Hasuda, dead serious, accepts the mission without hesitation. He thanks him for the info and promises that from here on, it's in his hands. The guy, now dust, manages one final tearful smile and thanks him with his last breath. With resolve, Hasuda gathers the remains and prepares for what's next. The mission is crystal clear: wipe out that walking mushroom farm named Magna. Hasuda looks at a ring in his hand, Thomas's wedding ring, while Oniyagi admits it's been a long time since he felt this mad. Beside him, Hasuda, always calm with a cigarette in hand, tells Thomas not to worry. The two walk forward, declaring, no matter what, they always keep their promises. Cut to a totally different scene. A nighttime party, with food, lights, and a bunch of people cheering with raised glasses. Everything centers around Master Magna, who's being praised for another blessed day. The vibe is straight up cultish, with people idolizing him like some messiah with a catering menu. The celebration is cut short by a sudden explosion that leaves everyone stunned. And right when the tension peaks, in walk Hasuda and Oniyagi, strutting through the debris like they just came from a dangerous fashion runway. Hasuda casually greets them, while Yagi says they were late because Master Magna's welcome was a little too enthusiastic. But they didn't come empty-handed. They declare it's their turn to give thanks, with something big. Magna can't believe what he's seeing. He's shocked they escaped and starts hurling insults, but Yagi shuts him up with pure disdain. They're not there to talk. Hasuda gathers the crowd with theatrical flair, announcing it's time to reveal the truth behind the so-called Happy Village. With a cold smile and cigarette lit, he drops the bomb. They're going to show everyone what's really going on in this place. Hasuda steps forward with dead seriousness and reveals that the food Master Magna's been dishing out is packed with sketchy mushrooms. Yep, those same blue mushrooms that look like they came from a Mario game, but instead of making you grow, they make you obey. For real. At first, the villagers react like someone just told them the bread had gluten, confused and chuckling nervously. Some even defend the mushrooms, saying they're medicinal. But Hasuda's not here to play. He instantly drops the real bomb. The mushroom's main ingredient is human. And just to drive it home, he pulls out a skull like someone unveiling a bottle of fine wine at a fancy dinner. The crowd is in shock, and now there's a literal skull centerpiece on the party table. Magna tries to brush off the accusation, laughing it off and thanking them for such an entertaining theory. But Hasuda expected that. So he pulls out a phone and plays an audio recording, Thomas's voice confirming everything. Magna's been brainwashing the entire village. The message hits so hard even Marie freezes, recognizing the voice instantly. The audio keeps playing, Thomas explaining how his former comrades were all victims of Magna's plan. First he got them hooked on the mushrooms, then drained them completely, and finally ended them without mercy, just to use them as fertilizer or some secret ingredient. And as if that wasn't dark enough, Oni Yagi announces they've got even more evidence. Because if you're going to morally obliterate a villain in front of his whole fan club, you better come with receipts and traumatized witnesses. Necklaces, backpacks, and bags start being laid out, each item revealing the truth Magna tried to hide. One by one, villagers recognize belongings from their missing loved ones. That backpack was Dad's. That necklace, the one a man gave his wife. The tension skyrockets like someone just dumped gasoline on a bonfire, and the spark is already lit. The horror hits them all at once. Magna had been hiding the bodies of the missing, or at least what was left of them. Faces go pale, voices start to tremble, and the question drops fast. Are they unsubscribed from life? Magna, meanwhile, just lets out a sigh, like someone who knows the show's over. And yeah, curtains closed. The crowd surrounds him, demanding answers, but Magna's not in the mood for speeches. Instead, he starts charging a magic circle with a defeated look. Says this is all the fault of meddlers, that they ruined his plan, that he was so close. With a magical spark, the ground lights up and he mutters, "Again!" And again means it's reset time. Clean slate, hard reboot, and run, because the beasties are loose. He summons a cage, and out come a couple of white monsters that look like they haven't had dinner in days. Claws, fangs, and a roar that says, "Chaos incoming." People scream, run, and even the ones about to yell at him just nope right out. Meanwhile, Hasuda just says the guy had this all planned. Magna plays innocent, and with a cynical grin tells them they'll have to take responsibility too. And he says it while summoning his pride and joy. A giant orc, ripped like a gym ad, with a face that says he's ready to hand out slaps. The two small-timers don't know whether to run or play dead, but only manage to mumble, "He's bigger than we thought." And yeah, the orc's not just big, he's got clear orders. Squash them. With a jump that shakes the ground, the beast slams down hard. But before it can move, a cold voice cuts in with a sharp "Hey." It's Oni Yagi, back in his reptilian form, stopping the attack with one hand. Hasuda asks if he knows what he's doing. The lizard replies like a pro, "I've got the big guy." His partner nods without fear, knowing his guys got this covered. Yagi doesn't waste time. He launches the orc straight into a house, leaving it embedded like unwanted holiday decor. Then taunts him from a distance, calling out his slow reflexes like it's a chill afternoon picnic. In the middle of this circus, Magna eyes Yagi with interest and makes Hasuda a sketchy offer. Hand over the kid. Hasuda, obviously, shuts him down with smooth diplomacy. But Magna doesn't give up and throws out another deal. If he kills him, can he keep him? As he drops that gem of a line, his wolves charge at Hasuda ready to rip him apart. But Hasuda doesn't flinch an inch. With a simple sit, the beasts obey like they're in obedience school. He lights a cigarette with complete chill and says he's about to give them a crash course in manners. Right after, Hasuda faces him with a question. What magic trick's he gonna pull next? And in response, Magna drops a sparkling red powder that blankets the area like a smoke grenade. The thick cloud has everyone coughing and gasping. Confusion spreads fast as no one knows what's going on. In the choking fog, Mari stumbles, calling out for help, begging her husband Thomas to save them. Forgetting that Thomas already unsubscribed from life. Magna appears at her side and, with a soft voice, says he's finally found her. She, filled with fear and bitterness, calls him Master Magna and tells him to back off. But he grabs her shoulder, not letting go, and makes a deeply disturbing promise. Now that her husband's out of the picture, they can finally live together forever. He orders her to eliminate the outsiders. Mari, shaking and confused, approaches Hasuda like she's seeking comfort, but suddenly falls onto him. Hasuda catches her to keep her from getting hurt, but that's when he feels cold steel straight in his chest. The stab is dead on. Mari, with a blank look, says her loyalty lies only with Master Magna. Mari, her eyes cold and her voice robotic, declares total loyalty to Lord Magna, and says there's only one path for outsiders: death. Hasuda, bleeding and swaying, hears her words with a mix of pain and acceptance, like he's resigned to it. His cigarette drops to the ground as the blood loss makes him collapse. Magna, very pleased, praises Mari like a well-trained pet. Hasuda, still conscious, calls him a bastard, but Magna, wearing his signature toxic salesman smile, explains that the smoke was laced with magic mushroom-type hallucinogens. Says he prefers not to use it, but hey, if it's for the village's good. Oh well. Then he waves goodbye like he just closed a deal, as Hasuda fully blacks out. Blondie decides to kill time while his other enemies are still fighting. He looks at Hasuda's body and says he'll take it. Yagi even suggests modifying him genetically, making a few upgrades, and turning him into a mutant Fight Club champ. With total casualness, he tells Mari to take Hasuda apart like he's asking her to do the dishes. But just as she leans in to obey, Hasuda grabs her wrist and drops an emotional nuke. He knows she's Mari, and he's got a message from her husband, Thomas. Thomas asked him to help free her, and it finally shatters her trance, emotionally and physically. Mari's mind breaks like glass under pressure. Memories, feelings, and lost humanity start flooding back through the cracks in her brainwashing. She touches her head, disoriented, and wakes up from the brain fog like someone escaping a bad dream. She's back. Mari looks at the knife in Hasuda's chest with horror and apologizes for what she did. But Hasuda, with a kind smile, tells her it's fine. Even with a knife in his chest, his body's special. He literally pulls the blade out and starts healing like a silver-haired Wolverine uncle. Mari, totally freaked out, can only ask who the hell he even is. Hasuda humbly replies, he's nobody special, just a simple recovery agent. The villagers, full cult mode activated, surround him like they're ready to go full angry mob. But Mari tries to snap them out of it, begging them to wake up and see the truth. One villager charges at her with a knife, and she closes her eyes, ready to be stabbed. But Hasuda stops the attack like a true gentleman, with a business card. Because if you're gonna disarm a brainwashed fanboy, you better do it with style. He tells Mari to hide, promises he won't let anything happen to her, and mentions it's part of the promise he made to Thomas. Then he activates a weird-looking orange power, warning that what he's about to do might be rough, but necessary. His magic hits the villagers, who suddenly get yellow eyes and drop to their knees like it's Sunday service. He orders them to sleep until morning. Clean. Effective. No trauma. Right then, Magna shows up, confused by the chaos, and Hasuda greets him with the subtlety of a baseball bat. You saved me the trouble of finding you. Magna's baffled, can't understand how this guy's still breathing, but Hasuda leaves him even more rattled by calling him by his real past life name, Takechiatu. He drops mental bomb after bomb, telling him to quit pretending. This should all feel very familiar. Magna tries to hold it together, but flashbacks don't care about your dignity. We see that, in his past life, Takechi was basically one of those spiritual influencers who promise miracles in exchange for cash. He gave speeches in packed halls, begged for donations to save loved ones, and collected more power, money, and worship with every passing day. Until one of his followers snapped, blamed him for ruining their life, and came at him with a knife. Back to the present, where Takechi, now Magna, starts to crumble. He screams at Hasuda to shut up, says everything was perfect, that he's the king of this happy, flawless nation. Hasuda challenges him, king of what? While the villagers stay kneeling, ignoring him completely. Magna, in full meltdown, slaps one and orders them to kill Hasuda. But nope, no one moves. His mushroom kingdom is crashing hard. With wild eyes, Magna spots Mari and rushes toward her like she's the last floaty on the Titanic. He grabs her tightly, almost begging her not to leave, saying she's the only one who's always been on his side. But Mari, terrified, screams for help and calls for the recovery agent. And that's the final crack in this wannabe king's sanity. He calls her a traitor, yells that after everything he did for her, this is how she repays him. Says his word is law, that she's just a nobody who has no right to defy him, and starts charging a spell while demanding she kneel. Before he can launch it, Hasuda swoops in and kicks him straight into some barrels. With a mix of disappointment and superiority, he tells him his mask finally fell off. Magna, beat to hell but still clinging to his delusions, whines that if Hasuda hadn't shown up, he could have kept being king forever. But Hasuda shuts him down with a line that stings worse than the kick. You never had what it takes to be above anyone. Desperate, Magna begs him to stop. But Hasuda's already activating a golden spell, calm as ever, and as the magical energy surrounds him, he makes one thing very clear. In the end, it really is that simple. Hasuda wraps things up like he just closed a catalog deal. With his usual chill vibe, he finishes collecting Magna's power. The energy gets sealed in a glowing green orb, which he stores like a pro while casually dropping a thanks for doing business. Deal closed. Client obliterated. Magna, no longer wearing his mask of superiority, collapses into his true form, a fragile, confused old man. Mari stares at him, shocked, like she can't process that this was the same guy who had her under control. The old man, still trying to play his tricks, goes, "Mari, I'm sorry about earlier. I'm not angry anymore. Come here." But Mari's not biting. She demands to see Thomas right now, as proof that he means it. Magna forces a smile and says that's an easy request, as long as she promises to trust only him. That's when Hasuda, cigarette in hand and no time for liars, shuts him down with a gut punch of a line. "You seriously don't know when to quit?" Hasuda reveals the truth Magna was trying to bury, that he locked Thomas up and used him as a living mushroom farm before ending his life. Magna starts sweating like a senator mid-scandal, trying to deny everything, but Mari doesn't believe a word. She slaps him with all her built-up rage, knocking him to the floor. Overwhelmed with grief and fury, Mari jumps on him, grabs his neck, and demands he bring Thomas back. As she strangles him, she screams that it's all his fault. Magna's body starts shaking, his eyes go white, and he starts drooling from the shock. Hasuda steps in, pulls her off, and firmly says that's enough. She fights back, shoving him, but he insists. He gets her pain, but she can't kill him, because Magna's value tanks if he dies. Strictly business. Right then, Yagi, the dragon bodyguard, shows up with a herd of sheep. He rushes in yelling, worried for Hasuda, but Hasuda tells him everything's handled, job's done. Yagi, grinning, replies that he also finished his part. He lifts Magna's defeated body like a sack of rice and throws it over his shoulder. Both prepare to leave. Mari, desperate, yells for them to wait. But Hasuda, without turning around, tells her not to worry, that the punishment Magna's about to get is so brutal he'll wish he were dead. "So go ahead and feel satisfied," he says coldly. Mari breaks inside. She says she has nothing left, no idea how to keep going. Hasuda, gently petting a sheep, just replies, "Who knows? We're just outsiders. There's nothing we can do for you." Mari drops to her knees, defeated. But then, one of the sheep walks up to her with something in its mouth. A ring. It's Thomas's ring. There's also a letter. She opens it with trembling hands and starts reading. "Mari, if you're reading this, it means I'm no longer in this world. I'm sorry for leaving you behind. I know the village must be gone, but even so, don't give up hope." As the letter goes on, Mari breaks into tears. Thomas's words beg her to keep living, to move forward, to know that he's always thinking of her. We see flashbacks of their life together, their wedding, happy moments, and a spiritual hug from Thomas beyond the grave. She kneels before the sheep and, through tears, whispers that she'll think of him forever too. In the distance, Hasuda and Yagi walk away while Mari, hugging the sheep, thanks them with a soft, "Thank you, collection agent." The scene cuts sharply. Magna wakes up lying in the woods, completely disoriented. He wonders what's going on, where he is, and figures he just needs to find another village to manipulate. He thinks that even without his ability, he can still charm people. But the moment he takes a step, a chain tied to his ankle yanks him flat on his face. When he looks up, he sees a man completely covered in mushrooms, eyes blank. Clearly not in a normal state. Hasuda appears with a polite smile and explains that this guy is a specialized crop of gourmet mushrooms, the kind that feed on human blood. Magna, horrified, tries to escape. Hasuda tells him they're on a farm that grows these mushrooms using live humans as planters. But not just any humans, only criminals. Magna tries to talk his way out of it. Says they already took his powers, he's worthless, they should let him go. But Hasuda looks at him like a teacher catching a kid lying about homework. He replies with biting sarcasm, "Getting forgetful already, Lord Magna?" and drops the final sentence. From now on, he'll be a living flower pot, a mushroom planter, just like he always loved. Then Truck-kun rolls in, carrying a crate full of tiny goblins in yellow hard hats. All very official. The little workers hop down, line up, and start inoculating Magna with mushrooms like creepy graveyard gardeners. He starts sweating bullets, begging for mercy, but Hasuda, with a twisted smile, throws out one last line. "Isn't this the peaceful life you always wanted? I'm happy for you." Magna can barely beg as his body begins to twitch. Spores burst from his belly, mushrooms erupt from his skin, and he lets out a guttural scream while roots spread through his insides. After leaving Magna with a fate more fungal than human, the story takes a hard shift in tone. We're now in the bar district of the Black Dragon Fortress, a cozy place lit by warm lanterns and neon signs. There we see Hasuda, Yagi, and the secretary enjoying a well-earned night out. They're celebrating, chugging beer, devouring food, and laughing like they didn't just turn someone into a human planter earlier. They literally toast to the success of the job, clinking their mugs like it's party time. Yagi jokes with a mouthful of food, the secretary chuckles quietly but happy, and Hasuda keeps his usual smile while poking at some sushi. The night rolls on, and the next day hits hard. Hasuda wakes up slumped on a couch, a hangover tattooed on his face. He sits up slowly, wondering what time it is, what happened after the drinking, and why his skull feels like a drum. He stumbles to the bathroom, splashes water on his face, and tries to gather his thoughts. But his recovery gets cut short by a new character's arrival. A tall, handsome, glowing dude with silver hair, golden eyes, and a noble aura. The guy asks straight up if he's Mr. Hasuda. Hasuda, still half zombie, answers yes, but begs him to stop shining so much, because the light is literally killing him. That's how brutal the hangover is. The guy stands there serious, clearly uncomfortable with the comment, but before things get weirder, the secretary walks in. She reminds Hasuda that this man had a scheduled appointment, and that she mentioned it last night. Hasuda tries to remember, but all he can recall is Sake and Yagi's dumb laugh. He figures he forgot because of the booze and asks her to bring him some tea while he gets ready. Now suited up and a little less dead inside, Hasuda introduces himself properly to the new client, apologizing for the wait. The guy seems polite, but kind of unsure. He quietly asks the secretary if that man is actually in any condition to work. She answers like it's nothing, saying he's just a little out of it from last night's party. The client finally introduces himself. His name is Sissel, and he says he needs a skill retrieval done urgently. Hasuda settles into the couch, intrigued, and asks him to explain what's going on exactly. Sissel begins to explain that, as the god of his world, he recently welcomed a reincarnated soul. It was a woman from another world, chosen to be a kind of savior, a saint. At first, everything seemed fine, but then things spiraled out of control. It all turned into a catastrophe. The scene cuts to an apocalyptic wasteland. The same woman now appears as a massive, deformed creature with black skin, glowing red eyes, and violent energy. The destruction is so intense that Hasuda wonders if it was caused by a bomb or some kind of WMD. Sissel clarifies it wasn't an explosion. It was the reincarnated woman herself who wiped out his world. In the photo he shows, there's a field full of fallen warriors, and in the middle of that grim landscape, the monstrous creature still stands, seething with rage. The secretary hands Hasuda the woman's file, her Earth life record. The document reveals her name, Shirakawa Megumi. Turns out she was a single mom with twins and died in a car accident. Nothing in her background suggests any violent behavior. Hasuda looks at her photo. She seems serious, but kind. As he scans the file, Hasuda reflects in silence. No shady past, no crimes, no red flags. He finally breaks the silence and asks Sissel how someone like her ended up becoming that monster. Sissel, still frustrated and hurt, says that's exactly what he wants to understand. He insists he believes she was good, that he trusted her, and now feels like he was betrayed in the worst way. Hasuda, now fully recovered, throws the direct question. Why'd you bring her in as a reincarnated soul in the first place? He's not accusing, just trying to get the logic. Sissel, not dodging the question, starts explaining how his world works. He says that for centuries, humans and demons have been in constant conflict. Even though they were always at war or in disagreement, that chaos maintained a kind of balance. While he explains, images show both sides, humans in armor with spears, demons with wings, horns, and fangs. It was your classic clash. No good guys, no bad guys. Just two forces locked in eternal battle. But then, everything changed. Instead of sticking to that chaotic balance, there was a slaughter. A total massacre. The demons, without warning, began wiping out humans without mercy. And that was the breaking point. Suddenly, demons started being born way stronger than normal. The new demon generations weren't just aggressive, they were unhinged. They shouted about exterminating all humans, laughing as bodies piled up like garbage. The balance collapsed in a matter of days. There was no way to fight back. So, in their desperation, humans did what any dying civilization would do: pray. They begged the heavens for salvation, someone who could undo the annihilation, someone to bring their people back. And just like that, as if the divine suggestion box had been checked, a saint appeared. A radiant woman, glowing with light and a serene smile, descended from the sky before a desperate crowd. But that hope didn't last. Sissel sighs as he tells it all, still shining like an emotional disco ball. Hasuda, who now gets the full picture, doesn't overthink it. He tells him he'll take the case, that the retrieval will be handled by his team, and the fee will be the usual. Sissel agrees, and the deal is sealed. Hasuda stands up, says they'll contact him once the job's done, and asks his secretary, Itakura, to show the god out. Before leaving, Sissel thanks them and mentions that, as gods, they're bound to a single world, so they need middlemen like the retrieval agency to fix disasters. He says it with a smile that's a little too crooked. There's something in his eyes that feels off, like he's hiding something. Hasuda notices it, but just smiles back diplomatically. He looks forward to working with him. The scene jumps now to Sissel's world, where the battlefield looks like a graveyard with no tombstones. Several knights on horseback charge at the creature that was once the saint. Fear is clear in their eyes, but one of them takes the lead and shouts that they must push forward, no fear. The soldiers follow bravely, charging en masse toward the enemy. But that courage doesn't last. The creature, a black monstrosity with red eyes and a mouth full of fangs, starts gathering energy in its throat. With a roar, it fires a devastating blast that wipes out all the knights in one hit. The field erupts in fire and smoke, soldiers scattered, burned, and covered in ash. Some try to crawl out from the rubble and smoking bodies, injured, dazed, not even sure what hit them. Out of the chaos, Hasuda appears, walking like nothing happened, calm but serious. He surveys the carnage and drops one of his classic lines. "This is awful." Then, staring at the roaring creature in the distance, he adds, "No matter how I look, I don't see a saint here." One of the knights, shocked to see anyone still alive and strolling casually, asks what squad he's with. Hasuda smiles and says he's just happy to finally talk to someone still breathing. He introduces himself as part of the retrieval agency and asks the knight to tell him everything he knows about what happened to the saint. The knight, exhausted, face smeared with blood and dust, starts explaining. He says they don't know exactly what went wrong. One day, the saint just came down from the heavens. At that moment, all the humans regained hope. She led the soldiers with strength and charisma, waving a flag high. She became a symbol of change. But that glorious moment ended in a flash. Without warning, the saint changed. Her body, her presence, everything transformed. She turned into a terrifying witch, a being who recognized no allies or enemies. Her magic became wild, chaotic, and instead of protecting humans, she started destroying everything without distinction. The once kind face that brought hope now grins like a bloodthirsty beast. From the sky, she casts a spell that unleashes a firestorm, burning down demons and humans alike. As the battlefield burned and the surviving knights struggled to make sense of what had gone wrong, Hasuda tried to get answers. He asked one of the knights why the saint was destroying everything, but the man could only stammer that he didn't know. Another chimed in, saying she was a good person, that they couldn't believe she'd do this. The confusion and fear were as massive as the creature now wrecking everything in sight. Hasuda, thankful for the info, left without drama. The knights shouted at him to wait, said he was crazy, that walking up to that thing was suicide. But he just told them not to worry. Far from them now, he pulled out his phone and called his secretary, Itakura. He asked her to let Bayaki know he'd be late, so she wouldn't freak out. Like he wasn't about to face a mutated goddess or anything. Then, without hesitation, he stood before the creature. And in an instant, without anyone noticing, he was already standing right on her chest. The creature barely reacted before he was already there, calm like someone unbothered by death or nightmare clients. He greeted her politely. "Nice to meet you, Shirakawa Megumi." She froze, stunned. Not by the words, but because she didn't even see him move. When did he get there? Hasuda introduced himself as the head of the retrieval agency and asked if she had a moment to talk. Instead of responding nicely, the creature growled, "My name. You know it? You're just like that bastard." As she spoke, she started charging energy in her mouth to fire again. Hasuda reacted. A blast shot out, but he dodged it effortlessly and landed softly on the ground. In his usual tone, he asked who she meant by that bastard. He was trying to start a conversation, but the creature clearly wasn't in the mood for soul-searching. The beast glared down at him, confused he was still alive. She yelled at him to get lost and fired another blast. Another explosion shook the field. In the thick smoke, a voice came through. "I'm sorry." When the smoke cleared, there was Hasuda, walking out like he just left a boring meeting. He dusted himself off, smoking as always, and calmly told her that attacks like that don't work on him. Meanwhile, a few surviving knights took the chance to run for their lives. Hasuda watched them go, and he noticed something strange. The creature wasn't attacking them. That got him thinking. Maybe the saint-turned monster only reacts to people who approach with hostile intent. Determined to get answers, he spoke to her again. "Hey, Miss Saint, so who were you talking about?" But the creature only shouted back a furious, "Shut up," and unleashed a non-stop barrage of attacks. Hasuda dodged them easily, almost lazily. He started wondering if the saint had lost her hearing, because she clearly wasn't listening. But she kept going with her classic, "Shut up" combo while firing more and more beams. Just then, 3 demons appeared from behind the creature. They saw her focused on Hasuda and yelled, "She's wide open! Die!" and launched a sneak attack straight for her back. Hasuda didn't even flinch at the demons. He just raised his hand, chill as ever, and dropped a fall. Instantly, a massive blue lightning bolt crashed from the sky and split the ground like butter. The demons barely had time to go, "Huh," before the thunderbolt sent them flying. Then, as the ground sizzled and the air sparked, Hasuda muttered in annoyance that he was in the middle of a conversation and asked not to be interrupted. Basically hit them with a "grown-ups are talking" warning. He turned again to the giant creature in front of him, the so-called saint, and spoke in a calm tone, never raising his voice or showing fear. He told her he didn't want to fight. Reminded her that, in her past life, she was a good person. The kind they don't even make anymore. As he said it, he couldn't help thinking about the freaks he usually deals with. Your typical reincarnated psychos with that "I kick puppies for fun" look. The saint didn't respond, but her silence spoke volumes. She was tense, filled with dark energy, and could only whisper a few, "Shut up, shut up," like Hasuda's words were rattling something inside her. He kept going, told her she was a kind mother. A real one. And that, to reach this level of violence, something awful must have happened. Something that shattered everything she was. She snapped, screamed that she doesn't believe in anyone anymore. That she'll never trust again. That she's done. Then she hurled her massive claw at him, wrapped in purple energy. Hasuda didn't budge. With the same tone you'd use to explain a cake recipe, he said, "I see. So this is about your kids, isn't it?" The moment he said that, the claw froze inches from his face. The saint went completely still. Her red eyes went wide. Her breathing stopped. All she could whisper was, "My babies." Hasuda, realizing he'd hit the mark, kept talking in that same calm tone. Told her he'd noticed she only attacks those who come at her, not the innocent. Meaning, she's not out of control. She's protecting something. The saint remained frozen. Her expression shifted from rage to confusion. And then, slowly, she began to open up her body, like undoing part of herself, revealing what she'd been hiding inside. From between the fibers of her form, two small red-skinned demons appeared, with curled horns and trembling eyes. They were huddled together, but when they saw Hasuda, one of them spoke up and told him not to hurt their mom. Not to harass her. "Our mom's not bad, leave her alone," is basically what they said. Hasuda stood frozen. His eyes widened, not out of shock, but because he'd just confirmed something he read earlier. He murmured softly, like thinking out loud, "Mom?" And then he remembered. The file said Shirakawa Megumi was a single mother, with twins. Hasuda turned back to the giant creature, who now looked way less like a threat and way more like a mother pushed past her limit. He scratched his head like he had no clue what to do, and mumbled in a more relaxed tone, "What a mess!" Hasuda stared at the demon twins, still not fully believing those little creatures were the saint's children. But the monstrous woman confirmed it in a pretty direct way. She conjured a magical orb and projected it to show him her memories. Hasuda watched closely, realizing this wasn't an attack. It was a full memory, something real she had lived through. The vision began with a woman on her knees, totally disoriented, having no idea what's happening. She looked around, confused, repeating that she was just heading home and doesn't know how she got to this weird place. You could see the fear in her face. There were no visual clues about where she was, until a glowing figure appeared. It was the god Sissel, shining like always, with that kind smile that somehow never feels quite right. He dropped the bomb on her with zero sugarcoating, told her she died crossing the street on a red light. Just like that. She freaked out, denied it in full panic, said it couldn't be true, that her kids, Kai and Sora, were waiting for her at home. But Sissel kept smiling that soft smile that was starting to look sketchy, and told her kids were probably really worried about her. Then, in a move that had nothing to do with holy vibes, he lifted her chin with his hand, all seductive, and whispered, "I can send you back to your world." The woman was stunned, hope lighting up her face instantly, and asked if he really meant it. He said yes, he was a god and could do it. But of course, there were conditions. Then he dropped the offer like it was no big deal. If she wanted to see her children again, she had to become humanity's savior. Told her she'd be a saint, a chosen one, and would need to eliminate the most dangerous demons, known as calamity demons. What was sketchy was that, when he mentioned defeating them, his face changed. That fake smile twisted into something cruel. He didn't mean scare them off. He meant full-on annihilation. Even so, the woman didn't hesitate. Said she'd do it. That she'd do anything if it meant seeing her children again. Sissel granted her the power, and the contract was sealed. The memory continued. Now she was riding a white horse, leading an army of human knights. They all cheered for her, called her the saint, their faces full of faith and hope. She didn't say a word, but clearly looked nervous, her expression tense. Still, she marched forward with the group. Suddenly, a demon showed up looking like he escaped from some low-budget villain convention. He bounced around with his huge tongue out, mocking the humans, called them idiots for coming back to the battlefield and promised to burn them to ash. His hand lit up with purple flames and he launched the attack. The saint reacted on instinct, shielding her face, and that's when her new power kicked in. A golden beam burst from her body and pierced the demon straight through, blasting a hole in his chest. basically turned him into a demon donut. The guy disintegrated into ashes while she stared at her hands in shock. She couldn't believe what she'd just done. Her face was pure panic, like she was holding a weapon she should have never touched. Around her, the soldiers celebrated like she was a movie superhero. They shouted that the saint had triumphed, that now they stood a chance against the demons. She swallowed the fear, clenched her fists, and tried to convince herself, no time for fear. She had to end this fast and get back to her kids. She wasn't fighting for humanity anymore. She was fighting to go home. But life, or the afterlife in this case, had other plans. In an instant, the whole vibe changed. A bunch of human soldiers started dropping like flies. Some were ripped apart so violently that blood splashed everywhere, staining the saint's face. She froze in terror. One of the surviving soldiers managed to warn her. The calamity demons had arrived. And sure enough, two shadowy figures showed up. Unlike the other demons, these were different. They wore white masks with creepy expressions, and their bodies were cloaked in pure darkness. Their presence was overwhelming. Just showing up changed the entire tone of the war. The soldier begged her to run, said those two weren't regular enemies, that fighting them was practically suicide. The saint held the soldier's hand, but looked him dead in the eye and said no. She wasn't going to run. She was going to take down the calamity demons with her own hands. She believed if she beat them, she might be able to return to her kids. So without wasting another second, she charged forward. A horde of demons rushed at her with fury, and right in the middle stood the two calamity demons, towering and silent. She gathered power in her palm and launched her golden attack, fierce and focused. But just before it hit, the demons countered with their own magic, and the forces collided in midair, canceling each other out in a violent blast. The explosion shook the battlefield. The saint's face didn't show fear, just frustration. The demons studied her more closely and confirmed it. Yes, she was the saint. And without hesitation, they told her they'd eliminate her. But she didn't back down. She thought about the one thing keeping her going. She had to win, had to survive, just to be able to hug her twins again. With that thought burning in her mind, she fired her light beam once more. This time, the attack broke through the demons' defense and blasted them backwards. The impact cracked their masks bit by bit, until part of their faces became visible. The saint stares at them closely and freezes. Something in their faces feels way too familiar. Impossible, she thinks. But even so, she says her children's names out loud, Kai and Sora. And to her surprise, the demons stop. They've heard those names before too. They look at each other, confused, and one of them asks, "Mom?" She steps back, stunned. How can they look so much like them? And why did they react to her children's names like that? Suddenly, she hears Sissel's voice speaking from some corner of her mind. He demands that she act. He yells that it's her duty to eliminate them now that they're vulnerable. But she, frozen, starts to understand what's really happening. Could it be? These demons are her children? Chaos surrounds her. The human soldiers scream that this is the perfect chance to destroy the calamity demons. At the same time, the demons spot her and order to kill her. Both sides want her to be executioner and victim at once. The psychological pressure is brutal. She starts trembling, hyperventilating. She begs them to stop, that she can't take it anymore. Her emotions explode, and she screams so hard that a burst of golden energy erupts from her body. That explosion changes everything. It's the exact moment she stops being human. Her body transforms, and the saint becomes the monster that now terrifies the entire city. But even in that grotesque and terrifying form, she holds the two demons, who we now understand are her children, and hugs them gently. She declares she will protect them, that she won't kill them, even if God himself comes down and demands it. Outside the memory, Hasuda watches everything carefully. The memory orb fades, and he's left in silence, processing all the truth he just witnessed. He now understands who that creature really is, and why she was protecting the two demon kids so fiercely. He no longer sees a threat, but a desperate mother. She, in her monstrous form, speaks to Hasuda in a more human tone. She asks him to at least save the children. That it doesn't matter what happens to her, but her kids shouldn't suffer. And as she says it, her grotesque body starts to crack like glass, and between the fragments we see the real woman inside, crying. The mother, the person who just wanted to go home. The two children beg too. They tell Hasuda they were tricked by that god, and now they have no one. They plead with him to help them. But Hasuda, with his usual serious face, responds with total honesty. Unfortunately, he's just a retrieval agent. Hasuda, his face completely serious, activates the retrieval spell while saying he simply uses his powers to collect things, just like that god asked. In front of him, the kids and their mother freeze. Not from the spell's power, but from fear. The mother doesn't fight, she just watches in horror, realizing this is the end. The god Isel, somewhere watching it all, shows a twisted and satisfied smile, like this was exactly what he wanted all along. Hasuda is just doing his job. The next day, the vibe is different. Light comes through the window of Hasuda's office, where he sits at his desk, hand on his head and a tired look on his face. He mumbles that it hurts, and his assistant, wearing the usual not this again face, asks if he's hungover again. But he says no, that things just got a little out of hand this time. Even so, he asks if there's more work waiting. She doesn't reply. She just offers him a cup of tea, and he, like it's nothing, thanks her. The peace doesn't last. Aniagi, visibly upset, bursts into the office yelling the woman's name, Shirakawa Megumi. He plants himself in front of Hasuda, eyes full of rage, and throws out the question with no sugarcoating. Why did you retrieve her? Didn't you see she wasn't a bad person? Hasuda barely looks up, while Aniagi unloads everything he'd been holding in. He reminds him that this woman was a single mother, worked multiple jobs, did everything to raise her twins. That all she wanted was to see them again. While he speaks, we see an image of Megumi hugging her children. A moment of tenderness and humanity that cuts deep in contrast with the coldness of what just happened. Aniagi insists, she just wanted to see her kids. But Hasuda, unmoved, responds coldly. He says that stuff, feelings, don't matter in their line of work. That they're not here to judge if someone's good or bad. They just follow orders. Period. Tension rises. Aniagi tries to reply, but Hasuda cuts him off without raising his voice, making it clear that this is a retrieval agency. That their job isn't to save people or show compassion. And that if he's got doubts, he better keep them to himself, because they don't need people with second thoughts around here. Aniagi doesn't answer. He just lowers his gaze, defeated. What just happened hit him harder than he expected. In a later scene, we see Hasuda meeting again with the god Isel. The mood shifts again. Isel greets him with his usual smile, the one that seems friendly but hides something shady. He says the job went perfectly, just as he expected. That everything turned out great. Hasuda responds neutrally, saying it was an interesting assignment. He doesn't seem angry or pleased. He just moves on. Then the god starts talking more openly, showing his true personality without filters. He casually says, with a smile growing darker, that being a god is boring as hell. That's why, for fun, he likes to reincarnate humans into this world. Not to help them, but to create a killing show. His personal pastime. Says it's the best way to kill time, especially when the humans have deep emotional bonds. This god enjoys watching people despair, break down, betray each other. He says it with a sadistic grin. Admits that's what he loves most, watching people lose everything. But then his tone shifts a bit. He sighs, like he's actually disappointed, and says that this show, which was perfect for him, got ruined by that woman. That she ruined everything by refusing to kill her own children. Aniagi clenches his fists as he listens to the god casually brag about his horrors like he's reading off a recipe. Next to him, Itakura stays silent, clearly uncomfortable. The god Isel keeps chatting with Hasuda, all smiles, saying that his company is truly efficient at solving problems for money, and that's why he values them so much. Hasuda, ever the pro, just says they do the best they can. But the god keeps going, saying that the previous failure, referring to the saint, was already taken care of thanks to them, and that next time he'll make sure to create a show that's even crueler and more refined. That's when Aniagi finally snaps. He explodes with rage and yells, "You bastard! with trembling fists, ready to knock his face in. But Itakura stops him with just a glance, and even though it's hard, he holds back. Hasuda apologizes to the client, saying his employees still need a bit more training. The god, smug as ever, says it's no big deal and asks what the next step is. Hasuda hands him an object. It's the saint's collected ability. He gives it to him like he's handing over a bag of cookies, with a smile to match. Right then, his phone rings. He picks up immediately. It's Truck-kun, the most efficient delivery guy in the multiverse. Hasuda asks if the delivery was made, and Truck-kun confirms. Hasuda hangs up and informs God Issel that the saint's body was already sent to a trading company. Oniagi, already on edge, now goes full boil. He yells at Hasuda that this is insane, asks how he could go that far. But the boss completely ignores him, keeping his business smile and continuing the convo like they're talking about shipping logistics. Issel, totally chill, asks what happened to the twins. Were they delivered too? That's the last straw. Oniagi throws a punch straight at the god. Issel doesn't even flinch, barely glances like a fly's coming at him. But just before it hits, Hasuda stops the attack with a single word, Oniagi. Arms crossed, serious look. Just that is enough to freeze his subordinate in place. Oniagi lowers his fist, grits his teeth, and says he needs to get some air. He slams the door and storms out. As soon as he walks out, he runs into a group of people in black suits entering the office. While Issel and Hasuda keep discussing payment, the mood shifts instantly. The newcomers introduce themselves. You must be the god in charge, Issel. We're from the Genesis Management Bureau Inspection Department, also known as Marsa. Issel, surprised, stands up and asks what Marsa is doing there. Oniagi repeats the name under his breath, not quite getting it. Itakura calmly explains. Marsa is the organization that monitors gods. They step in when a god acts maliciously, illegally, or fraudulently. In other words, they're the cosmic cops who slap leashes on out-of-control deities. Oniagi listens in silence, trying to process what just happened. Hasuda, meanwhile, turns to the squad leader and drops a dry remark. You're late. The inspector replies they're here to inform that God Issel has committed a serious violation of the code. Issel puts on a fake confused face and asks what they're talking about. Says his contracts with the retrieval agency are private, and they have no authority over that. But the agents aren't fooled. They tell him he reincarnated a human he wasn't supposed to, that he tampered with her fate just for fun, and that this isn't the first time. He's done it plenty of times before, causing deaths and chaos for kicks. Issel tries to weasel out of it, laughs nervously and asks if they've got proof. He demands evidence, practically mocking them. The lead agent pulls out his phone and says yes. He shows him a photo and tells him he'll definitely recognize the people in it. In the image, we see Megumi, the mother, being looked after by Marsa agents. She's safe. And in the background, playing without a care, are her twin boys. Right next to them is Truck-kun, watching over them like their official babysitter. Sissel stares at the screen with a mix of confusion and dread. His voice shakes as he says it doesn't make sense, that they were supposed to be out of the game. But Hasuda, with his usual cynical calm, just smiles faintly. That smile alone is enough for the god to realize everything. He turns, furious, and yells at him directly, screaming that he was in on it from the start, that he's trash, that he's sabotaged everything. Hasuda doesn't even blink. In fact, he almost looks amused. He answers with the ease of someone who already won, saying that trash is actually a pretty cool word. Then he explains he simply acted in his own best interest, that he'll always take the path with the best long-term return. He's not even pretending to hide his true intentions anymore. Oniagi, who's been processing this whole mess, finally sees the full picture. He accepts it with a resigned smile and tells the boss a simple, "President." Like everything suddenly makes sense. Hasuda turns to the leader of Marsa's elite squad and says they took so long he had no choice but to keep that idiot entertained, obviously referring to Sissel. The guy in the suit doesn't respond with drama or apologies, just says they had paperwork to deal with. That's it. Like a late Amazon delivery. Right then, the Marsa agents grab Sissel, one on each arm. The god, who thought he was untouchable 2 minutes ago, panics completely. He starts yelling that his father runs the ritual department, that he has divine authority, that he can fire them all or make them disappear if they mess with him. He's totally desperate, like a spoiled kid having his favorite toy taken away. But the door opens, and someone else walks in. A firm voice tells him that, unfortunately, not even Daddy can save him this time. Everyone in the room straightens up instantly. Oniyagi and Itakura, from the corner, wonder who that guy is. When they get a closer look, they notice he suspiciously resembles Hasuda. It's Minister Yuri, head of the inspection department. A man with a presence that weighs like a mountain. Hasuda watches him with a grin, like they go way back, and Yuri starts talking straight. He declares that the actions of God Sissel cannot be overlooked. That this time, every line was crossed. So, as a special case, it's been decided that he will be stripped of his divine powers. Sissel starts sweating bullets. He refuses to believe it. The agents force him to his knees while he begs, says it must be a mistake, a bad joke. But Yuri places his hand on his head with absolute coldness. He tells him to say goodbye to his godhood, that he played with the world he was supposed to protect, and that's a crime that should never have happened. Then, with a gesture just like Hasuda's, he extracts all of Sissel's divine power like it's just another transaction. While Sissel's body trembles, Yuri announces that the divine power removal is complete. The guy is left dry, powerless, statusless, just a nobody kneeling on the floor. Yuri orders his squad to move out, and they reply with a simple, okay, like they just wrapped up a filing job. While Sissel remains on the ground in disbelief, a hand lands on his shoulder. It's Hasuda, who never misses a chance to twist the knife. He asks Yuri if he's allowed to do whatever he wants with him now. Yuri barely glances at him and says to go ahead. That Sissel's record has been wiped, and even his father gave the green light. Sissel can't believe it. He stares ahead like his whole world is falling apart. But Yuri drops one more bomb, that he's a stain on his father's career. That's why even he handed him over without a second thought. Hasuda mocks Yuri, saying he's heartless. That if he hadn't teamed up with scum like him, the government would have never been able to handle rotten gods like Sissel. But Yuri replies with the same terrifying calm as always, that it was only a matter of time before gods started rotting. Facing Hasuda, he makes it very clear that as long as he's in charge, no divine trash will be left uncleaned. Even if it means working with someone as shady as him. Hasuda just stares back, with that trademark smug grin, and replies with sarcasm that those are very noble words coming from someone like him. But Yuri doesn't flinch. He makes it clear, this isn't a partnership, it's a symbiosis. They'll only work together as long as it's useful. After that, it's every man for himself. Cold, blunt, no fluff. Hasuda shrugs like, whatever, and replies in a relaxed tone that it's all good, as long as it makes life easier. He even throws out an invite, says he's hitting up a new cabaret club tonight, like he's asking a coworker out for drinks. But when he turns around, Yuri is already gone. Left the room the same way he came in, without a word. Hasuda stares at the empty space he left behind and, with a mix of amusement and resignation, says he's just as strict as ever while watching him disappear. Now that Yuri's gone, Hasuda crouches in front of Sissel, who's lying on the floor, defeated, without power, status, or ego. He looks at him like roadkill and drops a line full of venom. So you're not a god anymore. Congrats on getting fired. He reminds him his little tragedy show went so badly, the company lost 3 retrievals. Sissel can barely process it and tells him not to talk nonsense. Just then, Oniyagi shows up behind him in full dragon form, grabs Sissel's head with one hand like he's holding a basketball, and calmly asks if he can just crush it. Sissel's face is pure terror. But Hasuda, instead of encouraging him, tells him to stop, that he doesn't want to dirty the floor, and that killing him before squeezing some value out of him would be a waste. Oniyagi sighs and lets the ex-god drop like a rag doll, shaking and mumbling curses. As it happens, Hasuda watches with that cold gaze that doesn't need shouting to be scary. The ashes of his cigarette fall inches from Sissel's face, and without looking away, he tells him that if he were him, he wouldn't be so chill. Makes it clear that from now on, he'll do exactly what he says. He calls him trash like he's talking about a broken chair, and points out what really pissed him off wasn't the chaos, but losing the chance to retrieve 3 people. That's a major financial loss. At that moment, a figure appears that totally clashes with the tense vibe. Truck-kun, with his eternal friendly smile and cheerful delivery driver energy. He walks in greeting everyone with his happy voice and asks Hasuda if he's got something good for him. Hasuda welcomes him gladly and thanks him for the earlier favor. Even Aniagi gives him a respectful nod. Truck-kun says that last job caught him off guard, especially having to work with the cops, but he's not complaining. It was a different and even fun experience. Hasuda apologizes for the trouble and thanks him sincerely. Then he explains the reason for this visit is to ask for another favor, this time related to the newest unemployed guy in the room, Sissel. He asks if there's a job for him. Hearing that, Sissel lifts his head in pure fear. He doesn't even try to speak, just nervously watches them decide his fate without him having a say. Truck-kun strokes his chin and says he remembers something that might work. He mentions that at the Black Dragon Underground Arena, a place for illegal fights, they've been low on fighters. So they could offer Sissel as a new contestant, negotiate the price, and make sure his punishment turns a profit. Hasuda agrees without hesitation. Says it sounds perfect, exactly what they needed. While the adults calmly negotiate like they're picking pizza toppings, Sissel stays on the ground, frozen with fear. He can barely process what's happening. He starts mumbling, asking what they mean. Hasuda explains everything with total calm. The underground arena of Black Dragon, a place where anything goes and weapons kill without rules. Weekly battles with bets, and if someone survives and becomes champion, they could become a celebrity inside Black Dragon Castle. But of course, that's the best-case scenario. Because if you're weak, you end up as monster food. Literally. Aniagi backs it up with that warning, and the images speak for themselves. Bloody body parts and human remains tossed in a cell. No metaphors. This is 100% real. Sissel panics, grabs his head and begs desperately. He tries to run like a cockroach when the lights come on, but Hasuda grabs him by the neck with one hand. Looks him dead in the eye and says with a smile that he totally deserves it. That he made plenty of people fight for his amusement. Now it's his turn to fight for himself. He shoves him toward Truck-kun and says he's all his now, make sure he savors every second. Truck-kun takes him without issue and says that once they lock the contract, he'll send the money. Hasuda thanks him, just like that. As Truck-kun drags the ex-god, still screaming and begging his dad to save him, Hasuda and Aniagi wave goodbye laughing, saying they can't wait to see him in his first match. They treat it like they're about to watch an action flick. Time passes and the story shifts to a much calmer setting. Aunt Chiba's shop. Megumi is outside with her twin boys, waiting. Suddenly, Hasuda arrives, and the 3 of them light up when they see him. They shout, "Hasuda-san!" and the kids launch themselves at him like he's their favorite uncle. Hasuda replies calmly and introduces Aniagi as his employee. One of the boys greets him all happy, and the other, with that brutal honesty only kids have, calls him a giant lizard. Aniagi freezes and internally curses not showing up in his human form. Megumi tells Hasuda that the police instructed her to wait there, and he replies that yes, everything's fine. Then they approach a vending machine that looks completely normal. Hasuda asks Aunt Chiba if they can use that door, and she casually gives her blessing. Megumi stares at the machine and asks if that's seriously a door. Hasuda simply presses a button, and the machine opens like it's the entrance to a secret base. Inside, there's a weird elevator straight out of a sci-fi anime. The kids instantly get hyped. They start fighting over who gets in first while Megumi watches with a face full of surprise. Hasuda calmly explains that once the elevator stops, they'll be back in their original world. Megumi thanks him from the bottom of her heart and steps inside with the boys. The twins wave goodbye to Hasuda and Mr. Lizard, and the door slowly closes. We see the elevator activate and travel through what looks like an interdimensional zone. In the blink of an eye, Megumi opens her eyes and is back in her world, in the middle of the night. She looks around in disbelief and realizes it's all real. She hurries home, heart pounding out of her chest. When she opens the door, she yells her sons' names. Kai, Sora. They're there, alive and well, playing video games like nothing happened. They yell "Mom!" and run toward her. Megumi hugs them with tears in her eyes, overwhelmed, telling them she's home. Meanwhile, back with our main guys, Hasuda and Aniagi walk through the alleyways of the district. Hasuda stops, looks at Aniagi seriously, and hits him with, "By the way, you were disappointed, right?" That look comes loaded, like he's making something very clear. Aniagi gets nervous instantly and apologizes without thinking. Says he really regrets his attitude. Hasuda tells Aniagi that at least he's honest, and that's already rare in the line of work they're in. Between the cigarette smoke and the neon lights of the city, he says that in this cutthroat world, there's no point pretending. Says you can't change your roots, and that he's nothing but a washed-up money hunter. He says it with a crooked grin, like he's accepted his own downfall without a hint of drama. Aniagi doesn't know what to say to that, so he awkwardly tries to change the subject, asking how come he's got connections with the cops. Hasuda chuckles a little, like he was asked about a crazy ex, and says it's not quite like that, more like a cursed relationship. But he doesn't stop there. He switches topics again like the last one wasn't worth continuing, and drops the bomb. "By the way, the X-God's first match. We're going to watch it." Aniagi looks at him for a second, then lights up and just says, "Okay," like he's been invited to an action movie he's been dying to see. They stroll off down the street, totally looking like underworld execs, while somewhere else, the vibe takes a sharp turn. A furious man slams a knife into a table, shouting at the air how the hell something like this could have happened. He's livid, veins bulging on his face and breathing hard. Turns out he's Sissel's father, dressed like a high-ranking government official, clearly outraged by what happened to his son. He looks frustrated, disappointed, and full of that quiet rage only people who think they're untouchable carry. He grits his teeth, curses Sissel for being a moron, and grabs his phone in anger. He dials someone, and without even greeting them, gives the order, "I want you to take care of him. Get rid of Hasuda." His eyes stare straight at a photo of Hasuda, pinned to the table with the same knife, like he's already signed his death sentence. Hasuda and Aniagi roll up to the goddamn betting arena. You know, the kind of place where the concept of rules packed its bags and fucked off years ago. Everything goes in there. Weapons, mutations, implants, and if you've got a demon on a leash like a fucking pit bull, that thing gets in for free. The crowd's going wild. The whole place reeks of sweat, cheap beer, and old blood. Then they introduce the star of the show, the Butcher of the Abyss, a bastard who looks like Frankenstein after a 3-day bender, stapled together with bad attitude and leftover hardware. On the other side, the 10 poor bastards who showed up just to be meat shields. And among them is Sissel, the ex-god, who now looks more like a depressed birthday clown than anything remotely divine. They even give him a special shout-out. "Behold, the fallen god himself." The crowd loses it, laughing their asses off because no one can believe that Trembling Mess was ever part of the celestial VIP list. Hasuda and Yagi take their seats like they're there for UFC night. Around them, people crack up going, "Bro, that guy was a god? Motherfucker couldn't even get hired as an Uber driver." Bets close, a bell rings, and the ass-kicking begins. The warriors charge the butcher with whatever faith they have left, and the monster wipes them out like he's bored to death swatting cockroaches. All of them, except Sissel, who's curled up in the corner hugging himself, praying this is just a nightmare or a bad acid trip. But when he opens his eyes, surprise, dumbass, everyone else is paced, and the butcher's still standing there smelling like iron and pure bad vibes. Sissel, scared shitless, literally, can barely whimper for mercy, but the big bastard walks toward him holding a spiked mace that looks like it came straight out of Dark Souls. "You're fucked, DLC." The air gets heavy, and Sissel smells like someone punted a porta potty because yeah, he shit himself. The butcher plants himself in front of him, raises the mace, and without saying a single goddamn word, wham, motherfucker, right in the gut. Bones crack, blood sprays, and Sissel screams like someone just charged him interest on all his sins. Up in the stands, Hasuda and Yagi pull faces like, "Oof, that was rough." But they're clearly loving every second of this live-action Mortal Kombat special. Hasuda's barely done watching the butcher turn the ex-god into divine mashed potatoes when something else catches his eye. A pale blonde dude with a "I'm so fucked" expression, and next to him, a hulking frog-headed giant straight out of a rejected Shrek spin-off. Both are yelling at some scrawny old man to pay up. The old guy, looking like life already kicked him in the nuts, swears he lost everything on his last bet. Hasuda, smelling drama and potential business, gets up from his seat and walks into the arena like someone casually crashing a party he wasn't invited to. He greets the frogman with a shark-like grin, asking if there's a problem. The amphibian recognizes him instantly. Of course he does. It's not every day the goddamn president of the Lotus Agency pops in and greets him respectfully, saying he showed up at the perfect time. He grabs the old man by the collar and explains that this geezer is Jinsho, a god addicted to gambling who owes him more money than the IRS is missing from half the billionaires in the country. He tells Hasuda that not only does the bastard refuse to pay, he's now so deep in debt he tried to offer his reincarnation as collateral, literally betting his soul like it's a casino chip. Hasuda, seeing fate hand him another job on a silver platter, accepts with a smile. He steps in front of the old man, gives him the kind of look that says, "I'm about to ruin your whole day," and Jinsho, trembling, asks who the hell he even is. Hasuda gives him a half-smile and drops a line in the tone of a pissed-off dad about to throw a cosmic sandal. Asks if his mama never taught him to return what he borrows. Right then Oni Yagi shows up with the energy of a bodyguard who could rip a tank in half, saying he's been looking for Hasuda. The boss tells him he arrived just in time and asks for a pair of pliers, just like that, as if he's about to remove a splinter. Except everyone knows damn well Hasuda doesn't do delicate. Yagi hands them over without a word. Hasuda grabs the old man's face, pries his mouth open with the patience of a psychotic dentist, grips one of his teeth, and with a crooked smile scarier than your mom reaching for her flip-flop, says, "Did you know the teeth of gods get used to make miracle medicine? They sell for a shitload. So hey, at least you'll be worth something, old man." Hasuda lowers the pliers, still pointing them at the geezer with the calm of someone threatening the neighbor's dog for pissing on his lawn. He asks about the supposed reincarnated kid he used as collateral, with the tone of, "Alright, explain your bullshit." Jinsho, sweating like a fake witness in court, stammers that the kid doesn't have any special abilities, nothing extraordinary, but he's in excellent physical shape, basically pitching him like he's posting a Craigslist ad. Hasuda watches him silently, one eyebrow raised, and after a few eternal seconds, says a dry, "And why should I care?" Then, with zero warning, yanks out a tooth like he's opening a beer bottle. The old man screams with pure regret, sobbing that the boy is actually some dungeon-crawling adventurer with tons of treasure and valuable loot, offering him up desperately as payment for the debt. Hasuda says nothing, just stares at him with the cold expression of an accountant who already knows you're never gonna pay. Finally, he answers that for now, he's taking another tooth, for interest. And he does. Another one for the collection. Meanwhile, everyone in the back, the blonde guy, the frogman, and even the goddamn heir, watch nervously, like they're attending a masterclass titled, "How to Collect a Debt from a Deadbeat God Without Losing Your Cool." Hasuda, unfazed, picks up the two bloody teeth, hands them to the blonde dude who was yelling at the old man, and tells him that should be enough to cover even the interest. Then he straightens his suit, turns around, and casually tells the frog boss he'll swing by to collect the rest after the next haul, like he just finished waiting in line at the DMV. Jinsho is left lying on the floor, spitting blood with a crooked smile, like deep down he knows he deserved every bit of that shit. Later, at the office, Hasuda's smoking his cigarette with his usual "God, I want this day to be over" face when Itakura, his secretary, always formal, always composed, walks in and hands him a report. It's the file on the world overseen by that gambling-addicted god, Jinsho. Hasuda thanks her with that boss tone that sounds polite but secretly means, "Thank fuck someone in this place actually works." Itakura, as unshakable as ever, explains that in that world, the entire economy is built around dungeons. Basically, it's a country full of people who think they're Link, living off diving into caves, killing creatures, and selling magical crap to make rent. Hasuda frowns and says that sounds like a massive pain in the ass. Oni Yagi, curious, asks if he's got something against dungeons. Hasuda doesn't even hesitate. He hates them. Hours walking around dark, damp, monster-smelling corridors sounds like a punishment straight from hell. He even brings up that basement they were thrown into the other day, saying it felt like Satan himself had designed the place. Oni Yagi mutters under his breath that maybe the boss is just a little bitch. Hasuda hears him and gives him a dry, huh, while the dragon pretends to cough to hide it. Before the tension can thicken, Itakura cuts back in with more info. She says that the reincarnated guy in that world has been part of several adventuring parties, but in every single one, everyone dies, except him. Hasuda lifts an eyebrow, surprised, because that sounds sketchier than a politician's promise. He grabs the file and reads the name, Rito, the Trap Master. Oniyagi comments he looks weak, but Hasuda answers he wouldn't be so sure, remembering that Jinsho, gambling addiction and all, still used him as collateral. If the old bastard was willing to bet something like that, then the guy must be more dangerous than he looks. Hasuda sighs, puts out his cigarette, and says that this guy is definitely going to give him migraines, and probably turn more of his hair gray. Scene change to Marsa headquarters, the kind of place where tight suits and deep eye bags are part of the dress code. An employee knocks gently on a door, and from inside the boss, Yuri, tells him to come in. The guy, Hanazaki, looks like the perfect office drone, polite posture and all, and asks what he was called in for. Yuri, with the tone of a man powered purely by coffee and suffering, asks about the status of the case involving the gambler god, Jinsho. Hanazaki straightens up and reports that the old man has been neck-deep in the underground arena, gambling, losing, and starting shit with half the criminal world. Yuri nods seriously, then lowers his voice and tells him he has a secret mission. Hanazaki goes stiff, swallows hard, and answers with a yes, sir, worthy of someone about to enter full solid snake mode. Then Yuri drops the bomb. An extremely dangerous item that Marsa had confiscated, the so-called vial of purgatory, has been stolen. Hanazaki goes pale, like his soul almost slipped out through his ass. Yuri explains that all surveillance recordings were wiped clean, and after a thorough investigation, everything points to none other than Jinsho. The boss declares that Jinsho is already dangerous on his own, but with that item in hand, he could cause a disaster on a divine scale. The order is clear. Hanazaki must retrieve the vial, no matter the means or the consequences. The employee, jaw tight with tension, adjusts his glasses and answers firmly, "Understood." Scene shifts to Jinsho's world, that godforsaken place where everyone thinks they're the Dragonborn but they all live poorer than Skyrim NPCs. On the way to a dungeon, a warrior with an ego problem named Lyle and a hot elf archer named Cecilia are telling poor Rito, the reincarnated guy, that after this expedition, he can get the hell out of the group. The dude looks at them like a kicked puppy and asks why. Lyle, with full alpha asshole energy, says they're not trying to die because of someone cursed, and Cecilia adds that if they'd known he was bad luck, they'd never have invited him in the first place. Rito manages to murmur a sad no, like someone just canceled his taco night. Then Elena, the mage of the group, steps in. Gorgeous girl, lilac hair, zero filter, and tells them not to be assholes, that they've gone through tons of adventures together, that they're comrades, and that Rito has saved their asses more than once. Cecilia raises a brow and fires back, asking how the hell he's so helpful when he's always the last one standing after everyone else ends up dead. Rito tries to explain, stammering that he's not a frontliner but Lyle cuts him off with a shut it, saying he doesn't want excuses, the decision's final, and once this mission is over, he's fired. Elena, pissed, insists they're being unfair, but the poor guy just stays quiet. Then he gives her a sad little smile and says not to worry. Just hearing her defend him makes him happy. Minutes later, at the dungeon entrance, Lyle yells at him to hurry, while Rito runs with his beat-up little backpack saying he's coming. Not far away, hidden among the crowd, is Hanazaki, the infiltrated Marsa agent. He watches the group with a "this is gonna get messy" face and notices something important. Hanging from Rito's belt is the vial of purgatory, the cursed object he's after. The guy almost shits himself from excitement, but he keeps his cool. He knows one wrong move and the whole place could turn into magical crossfire. So he decides to tail them stealthily, the perfect nosy spy, while the group enters the dungeon without the slightest fucking clue that besides monsters, they're also being stalked by a government creep. Later, deeper inside the goddamn dungeon, Hasuda and Oniyagi are wandering the halls like two lost interns trying to escape a subway station. The two idiots are starting to realize they've been going in circles because the same ugly walls and rooms keep repeating. Hasuda, cigarette dangling from his mouth, complains that he fucking hates dungeons, that everything looks the same, like a maze designed by a stoned architect. Oniyagi laughs in his face and says the problem isn't the dungeon. It's that his boss couldn't navigate even with Google Maps, that he's basically Zorro from One Piece trying to find a bathroom. Hasuda gives him a, "say one more fucking word and I'll end you" look, then asks, very seriously, what the first rule of doing good business is. The dragon thinks hard, scratching his head like he just got hit with a pop quiz, and finally answers that the first thing is to greet politely and face to face. Hasuda smiles with satisfaction and says that's correct. Then suddenly the bastard starts stomping on the ground like he's summoning the productivity demon. And yeah, the hollow echo says loud and clear that there's a path underneath. Oni Yagi gives him a bro, that's cheating face, but the big lizard ain't about to be outdone. He lifts his fist and, bam, punches straight through the floor, smashing it open and sending both of them plunging down to the lower levels like they just ordered a one-way express elevator to hell. While those two play fucking Minecraft IRL, somewhere else in the dungeon Rito and his little adventure party have reached the final floor. In front of them stands a massive door, the kind that screams, "Get ready for treasure or die stupidly." Cecilia the elf, ass perked up and voice dripping with annoyance, says it feels anticlimactic getting here this easily. Elena, the gorgeous lilac-haired mage, reminds her that the only reason they didn't end up skewered or roasted alive is thanks to Rito, the skinny kid who knows every trap like he's got the dungeon's source code. She insists they should rethink kicking him out, because without him they'd already be decorating the place as Halloween skeleton props. But Lyle, being the same dick he always is, says there's nothing to discuss. The decision is final. Elena starts to argue, but poor Rito puts a hand on her shoulder, so humble it hurts, and thanks her again for defending him. The guy is so damn nice it's infuriating, like those people who say, "I'm okay," while life is beating the shit out of them. Anyway, they open the final door with all the excitement in the world. And there's jack shit inside. Completely empty. No treasure, no monster, not even a shiny pebble. Just air and disappointment. Lyle stares like a dumbass, complaining that this should be the final room. He was at least expecting a dragon, a chimera, or some death trap to justify the hike. The others start whining that the whole expedition was a goddamn waste of time, that they didn't even get a rusty dagger out of it. The only thing in the room is a huge hole in the wall, like someone already came in, beat the boss to a pulp, and looted everything. And just when they're all standing around thinking, we didn't even get a souvenir, a loud noise echoes behind them and, slam! The door shuts by itself. Loud enough to make everyone's asshole tighten in sync. Lyle instantly whips around and glares at Rito like a rabid dog, accusing him. Did he close the door? Rito almost pisses himself and swears he didn't touch anything, not even the knob. Cecilia tries to open it but nope. Not happening. The door is sealed tighter than an incel's chastity belt. Lyle, neck vein about to explode, screams at Rito that he was the only one near the damn door. What the hell is he plotting? Elena tries to calm him down, but he's in full meltdown mode, like a jealous boyfriend finding suspicious texts. Then Cecilia frowns, lifts her elf ears, and says she hears something big. She yells at them to get ready, and not even a second later, out of the hole in the wall bursts a fucking hydra the size of a 2-story apartment. Multiple heads, razor teeth, and a face that says, "I'm about to turn you into paste." Everyone shits themselves instantly, but Rito wins the prize. His legs shake like a drunk dude doing a sobriety test. The group is clueless. They're asking how the hell a monster like that is in a low-level dungeon. This is final boss Elden Ring shit. Lyle, more pissed than scared, yells at Rito to do something about the door already, to stop shaking like a broken blender. Rito, stuttering, just manages to squeak out an "okay," while the Hydra lines them up with one of its snarling heads. From the monster's mouth fires a massive green beam. Lyle barely manages to shield himself, but the blast is so corrosive his shield melts like cheese in a microwave, and his arm gets roasted, smoke rising off it. Cecilia immediately takes aim, shoots an arrow right into one of the Hydra's eyes. Bullseye. The beast writhes in pain, and everyone gets that microscopic flash of hope that lasts about as long as I do in bed. Because the hope dies instantly. The monster's eye regenerates like it just rubbed some goddamn Neosporin on it. Within seconds, the Hydra's perfectly fine again and ready to fuck them up. The group's faces are pure despair. They know they're more screwed than minimum wage workers during tax season. Lyle screams at Rito again, practically foaming at the mouth, asking if he still hasn't opened the fucking door. What the hell is he waiting for? Poor Rito's fingers are shaking, spell after spell flying at the door, but nothing works. The door doesn't even wiggle. And while panic swallows them whole, the Hydra starts charging another attack, this time with 3 main heads, glowing green like a cheap neon motel sign. Lyle understands everything. They're fucked. No defense, no escape, no chance of playing dead. Everyone starts yelling at Rito to hurry, throwing for the love of God, "Do something, you useless piece of shit," at him. Even Elena begs him to hurry. The Hydra is seconds away from vomiting its acid doom when a massive cracking sound echoes. The ceiling trembles, splits, and then fucking collapses like Godzilla stomped the building. Dust, rubble, chaos everywhere. The adventurers cover their heads, coughing, clueless about what the hell just happened. Then they look up and see a giant hole in the ceiling, so big it looks like someone decided to enter by skipping the whole door concept entirely. And through the smoke and broken stone they wonder, did someone just save them? The Hydra is fucking flattened, crushed under the debris like a cockroach in a Chankla massacre. Through the dust, 2 silhouettes descend with the calmest attitude in the multiverse. Hasuda and Oniyagi, the most chill protagonists ever born. Hasuda, cigarette dangling from his mouth, says that maybe the entrance was a bit rough, that they might have gone a little fast and furious with the style. Yagi scratches his head and tells him at least they got here fast, so he shouldn't complain so much. They're in the middle of arguing like 2 stubborn old men when suddenly one of the Hydra's heads snaps back to life at full fucking speed and lunges straight at Hasuda. The boss doesn't even flinch, keeps talking like nothing's happening, until Yagi steps forward and delivers a clean dragon claw strike so sharp the monster's head flies off like a golf ball. The adventurers just stare like, what the actual hell did we just witness? The big lizard just sliced through a Hydra like he was cutting warm butter with a hot knife. The whole party stands there slack-jawed. Lyle, who not long ago thought he was the macho leader, now looks like a kid watching his first magic trick. Hasuda and Yagi walk toward them with total calm, like they just arrived at a damn picnic, and Hasuda even greets them politely, with that shark-like smile that inspires more fear than trust. Elena, who's no idiot, feels the shift in the air and whispers to Rito asking what they should do, because those 2 sure as hell don't look like normal adventurers. They look like debt collectors from hell. Hasuda hears her and tosses a venomous comment straight at the skinny kid. What's wrong? Is he not planning to help his dear teammates? Rito stays silent, face dark and serious, like someone just scrolled through his browser history in front of his mom. Hasuda keeps his composure, flashes that mocking smile of his, and says he figured as much. That Rito isn't going to help them, because from the very beginning he's the one who's been trying to kill them. That he is the mastermind behind all the chaos. The adventurers whip their heads toward Rito, eyes wide like someone just told them their mom was a crime boss. Rito stiffens and swallows hard. Hasuda continues calmly, then drops a bomb straight on his ego. Isn't that right, Rito? Or maybe he should call him by his real name, Suzuki Tadashi. And that hits like a truck. The poor bastard looks like his soul just slipped out the back door. His expression is pure, oh fuck me, because he still can't believe this sharp-dressed man somehow knows the full legal name he used back when he still paid taxes in Japan. But Elena, sweet face and all, steps forward, trying to stand between them like a human shield. She challenges them, asking who the hell they are and what they want with her teammate. Hasuda, cigarette dangling in patience of a saint who already cashed his paycheck, answers casually that they shouldn't worry. They're just here to collect Rito's power. Just like that. As if he were talking about picking up an Amazon package. And right then, the skinny bastard starts laughing. But not normal laughing, no. He lets out a full villain cackle, the kind that makes you wonder if he snapped a screw loose or shoved something up his ass for fun. He laughs hard, mocking them, saying that just like he'd heard, the guys in front of him really do look like mobsters. Everyone freezes. Lyle and Cecilia stare at him like they just watched their buddy turn into the Joker. Even Hasuda and Oniyagi glance at each other like, this dude finally lost it. Rito keeps smiling like a fresh out the asylum psychopath. He throws them a twisted grin and taunts them without fear, telling them that if they think they can collect his power, he'd love to see them try, those fucking Lotus Collection agents. And that finally chills the room. Hasuda and Yagi are genuinely surprised, because the skinny bastard just revealed he already knew who they were. Not only did he recognize them, he knew exactly why they came, even before they got there. Rito doesn't beat around the bush and drops the truth with impressive shamelessness. He tells the collectors that, thanks a lot, but because of them his whole damn plan just went down the drain. And it's not like he had a heroic escape plan, no. What this psychopath actually wanted was a front row seat to watch these idiots, referring to his own teammates with all the love in the world, die in the most miserable and painful way possible. Upon hearing such a declaration, the group freezes completely. The shock is so great that Lyle and Cecilia, who minutes ago were treating him like trash, now confront him with a mix of fear and disbelief, demanding to know what the hell that means and asking him, almost begging, to quit the sick jokes. But Rito is done playing games. He turns toward them with a coldness that chills the air, and suddenly, his eyes begin to glow with magical intensity. Without moving a single muscle, he makes the ceiling debris start floating around him, and with a simple gesture of annoyance, he hurls them violently against them while muttering that they are being way too loud. Elena, desperate, tries to react to save them, but the speed of the attack completely outclasses her. It is too late. The debris falls with brutal force, crushing Lyle and Cecilia mercilessly and leaving them lying on the ground with deep wounds that don't look good at all. While all this happens, Hasuda and Oniyagi watch the scene in absolute silence, not intervening yet, but with an expression on their faces that says it all. The urge to beat the living hell out of this guy is rising to dangerous levels. Rito, feeling like the lord and master of the place, throws out a new provocation saying it's time to put them to the test. Immediately, the walls decide to join the party and cannons emerge from them, completely surrounding our protagonists, turning the room into a death trap. Without giving them time to react, the cannons spit fire like industrial flamethrowers, impacting directly on them with the clear intention of turning the collectors into a barbecue. Elena, who is already on her knees and on the verge of a mental breakdown, mutters that this can't be true, but Rito confirms the cruel reality. This place is his castle. Basically, he holds the deed to the place, which means he can do whatever he wants. All the traps, the monsters, and the chaos are his handiwork and belong to him. Still in shock, Elena questions him if he was deceiving them this whole damn time. Rito, far from apologizing, throws the question back with venom. And weren't you guys looking down on me this whole time? Elena tries to deny it, saying that's not true, but Rito, with a shadowy expression that gives you the creeps, cuts her off, dryly telling her to please save the drama, accusing her of just pretending to pity him all this time. Elena is left speechless, unable to process such an accusation. Meanwhile, Rito shifts his attention to the fire and wonders aloud if our boys have already been reduced to ashes. But to his surprise and misfortune, both emerge from the smoke cloud walking, completely unharmed. That said, they aren't mad about the assassination attempt, but come out complaining bitterly that their favorite suits took some damage. Because of course, drip comes first. Elena is completely flabbergasted, trying to process how the hell it's possible that these two guys are still breathing, and without a scratch, after basically being roasted alive. But Rito, far from being scared because his death trap failed, lets out a maniacal laugh, the kind that confirms sanity left the chat a long time ago. And the thing is, just as his patron warned him, these collection agents are tough cookies and extremely resilient, so seeing them standing only confirms that the intel he received was top-tier quality. Hasuda, for his part, doesn't even flinch at the psycho laugh. With an almost casual curiosity, he decides to seize the moment to interrogate him and asks directly what else that good-for-nothing god told him. But Rito isn't here to give explanations. He flatly refuses to respond to the provocation and decides it's time to stop playing around. He reaches for his belt and pulls out the object that will change the rules of the game, the infamous vial of purgatory. In that instant, the story throws us a quick flashback so we understand the context of that dangerous toy. We see the exact moment Jinsho handed the artifact to Rito, giving him precise instructions like a recipe for disaster. He specifically told him that, when they appeared, he shouldn't hesitate to use it. The promise was clear and tempting. If everything goes according to plan and he uses the vial, he guarantees he will obtain unimaginable power. Back in the present, Hasuda notices the kid isn't going to spill the beans about his chat with the god, and with professional coldness, tells him he's right. He admits that, at the end of the day, divine gossip isn't really his business and that he has a job to do. So, without further ado, he announces with total tranquility that they will simply proceed to do what they came to do, the collection. But Rito has no intention of letting himself get caught, so he takes the vial of purgatory and throws it straight at them like a magic grenade. Hasuda, showing reflexes that don't match his lazy attitude, reacts instantly and lands a kick on Yagi to violently push him out of the blast zone. Yagi goes flying and complains a bit about the pain, asking indignantly why the hell he did that. But there is no time for explanations. As soon as the vial hits the ground, it shatters into pieces, releasing an energy with galactic colors that envelopes Hasuda completely in an impressive light show. Immediately after, the vial reconstructs itself on its own as if time had reversed, sucking and storing all that energy back inside it. And when everything calms down, Hasuda is gone. Next to the artifact, the only thing left as a trace of his existence is his cigarette, still lit on the floor. Yagi is left completely confused, staring at nothing and wondering where the hell the president is. Rito, feeling like the absolute winner, crouches down to pick up the artifact while mocking shamelessly, commenting that he had been warned that the old man was very powerful, but apparently the rumors were pure hype. The dragon explodes with rage, calls him a bastard, and demands to know what he did to the president. Rito answers with astonishing coldness that the old man is now trapped inside the vial. Yagi, desperate, screams at him not to talk nonsense, refusing to believe his boss fell so easily, while Rito is already ignoring him olympically, lost in his own thoughts about what kind of broken power he should ask for as a reward for his great feat. Right at that moment, someone else bursts onto the scene ordering Rito to stop right there. Yagi recognizes him instantly. It's the stiff guy who was at the office a few days ago. The man formally introduces himself as Hanazaki, from the feared inspection division of Marsa. Rito, far from being scared, lets out an annoyed groan at the arrival of another pest, but immediately smiles with malice and tells him he's too late, while showing off the vial in his face like a trophy. Upon seeing the object, Hanazaki starts to break out in a cold sweat, realizing the artifact has already been used, which unleashes panic in Yagi, who demands to know what the hell that bottle is. Hanazaki drops the bomb and explains what the vial of purgatory is. An extremely dangerous artifact capable of sealing even gods, no matter how broken their powers are. And to top off the bad news, he adds the worst part: that thing cannot be opened from the inside. While Rito pockets the artifact with total tranquility, Yagi starts to worry seriously about the president's fate. But Hanazaki doesn't hesitate. He declares there is no other option and that, in order to secure the objective, he will recover the artifact using brute force. And to make it clear he isn't playing, he materializes in his hands a bow and arrow made of pure electricity and energy, aiming straight at Rito. Hanazaki doesn't hesitate and shoots straight at him with every intention of frying him. But Rito, with the laziness of someone swatting a fly, simply extends his arm and stops the attack dead with a magic barrier. With a look that no longer has anything submissive about it, he blurts out that enough acting is enough, that it's time to stop pretending he's weak. Yagi and Hanazaki are left shocked, feeling the skinny guy's power level skyrocket instantly. And then the evil architecture show begins. The castle floor starts to warp, turning into cubes, and from the underground, an entire army of skeletons equipped with armor and swords begins to sprout, ready for war. Rito, very comfortable in his final boss role, sits on his throne and announces with a sadistic smile that he's going to have quite a bit of fun playing and torturing these little flies to death. In a matter of seconds, there are already hundreds of skeletons and golems that have emerged, completely surrounding Yagi and Hanazaki without leaving them even a gap to breathe. Hanazaki, seeing the panorama, drops the uncomfortable truth. Rito's power is ridiculously above any normal reincarnated person. For him, there is no doubt. The god Jinsho is involved up to his neck in this. Surely he gave an illegal buff to his pawn. Rito, bored of listening to them whisper, asks what they are yapping about and gives the order to his personal army. Kill them. And so, the tide of monsters launches into a run towards them with the sole and clear intention of ending their lives. Hanazaki, seeing that the situation is spiraling out of control with hundreds of bloodthirsty skeletons surrounding them, decides to swallow his pride and throws a proposal to Yagi. Fight together just for this occasion, because clearly dying there isn't on either of their agendas. And to seal the deal, he fires an electric arrow at full speed. The projectile goes whizzing dangerously close to the dragon's face and impacts squarely on a skeleton that was about to stab him in the back, blowing it to pieces. That said, the aim was so precise that, on the way, the arrow leaves a nice scratch on Yagi's cheek. Hanazaki, with his typical poker face, simply tells him it's an emergency situation, so things can get a little rough. But Yagi doesn't find it funny at all that his face was touched. He gets irritated instantly, yells, "Bastard!" and launches straight at Hanazaki, charging a brutal punch, with an expression of fury. It seems the team lasted less than a minute and that Yagi is going to decapitate his temporary ally, but it was a masterclass bait. The punch grazes past Hanazaki and impacts with devastating violence on a stone golem that had materialized right behind him, destroying it into 1,000 pieces instantly. After saving his hide, Yagi turns with a smirk towards the agent and tells him he'll make an exception this time. They are going to team up. Hanazaki, adjusting his glasses, thanks him for his cooperation, knowing that now they actually have a chance. Meanwhile, the camera changes scenery radically. We see Hasuda walking with total tranquility inside the vial of purgatory, realizing that he isn't simply in a bottle, but in a completely different and empty dimension. The president lets out a long sigh, not of fear, but of pure disappointment in himself for falling for such a cheap trick at this stage of his career, muttering to himself that he is definitely getting old. However, his shark mindset is still working. He analyzes that brat's cocky attitude, and concludes his behavior confirms 100% that he is in cahoots with Jinsho. Although, thinking about it a little deeper, he suspects there might be something darker behind all this. Far from panicking, Hasuda takes out his lighter, lights a cigarette with style and, while the smoke rises, comments that this is getting interesting. And with a smile that would make any god tremble, he sentences that enough games are enough. Now it's his turn to get a little serious. Oni, Yagi, and Hanazaki are still in massacre mode, proving that when they get serious, the skeleton army is just a bunch of calcium waiting to be crushed. Yagi clears the zone with brute force, slamming the ground so hard he sends enemies flying like ragdolls. Meanwhile, Hanazaki brings the lethal elegance, unleashing a rain of glowing arrows that pierce skulls and ribs with surgical precision. A few meters away, Elena can't help but be impressed. While she uses her healing magic to try and paste Lyle and Cecilia back together and keep them alive, she watches in awe as this improvised duo manages to hold back that absurd mob of monsters without even breaking a sweat. Yagi, surrounded by broken bones, comments with disdain that yes, it's an impressive number of enemies, but in reality, they are pure garbage, quantity over quality. Hanazaki, striking his intellectual pose and adjusting his glasses with style, agrees and adds that they were clearly underestimated by their opponent. And they say all this with total tranquility, standing on a mountain of corpses. Or well, re-corpses, since technically they were already skeletons before they dismantled them. From his throne, Rito watches them with a visibly angry expression. His little game isn't going as expected. Hanazaki notices the annoyance and decides it's time to close the curtain. From his hand, he summons a burning flame that grows in intensity. Without hesitation, he launches it straight at Rito, and in the air, the fire takes the majestic shape of a phoenix, ready to incinerate the villain. But Rito doesn't even flinch. With an expression of total boredom, like someone swatting a fly, he raises a magic shield and stops the spectacular attack like it was nothing. Hanazaki is left completely in shock, pale-faced seeing that his strongest attack, that fire phoenix that should have incinerated everything, didn't even tickle Rito's defense. And to rub salt in the wound, the villain looks at him with disdain and asks in a mocking tone, "So? What exactly were you supposed to finish?" Frustrated and cold sweating, Hanazaki drops the final diagnosis. That thing in front of them no longer qualifies as a simple reincarnated person. His stats are so broken he's practically a god. He turns to Yagi and sings him the harsh reality. As long as they don't manage to break that damn magic barrier, they have zero chance of winning. Yagi, who prefers to punch rather than think, asks then what the plan is or what the hell they should do. But Hanazaki, on the verge of a nervous breakdown, screams at him with frustration to give him a second, that's exactly what his brain is trying desperately to process. But Rito has no patience to watch them argue. From the comfort of his throne, he yawns and comments that waiting is getting boring, so he decides to get creative. Out of nowhere, a digital interface appears in front of him and he starts moving his fingers as if he were programming hacks in real time. The result? He makes the mountain of defeated skeletons that took them so much effort to beat come to life. Again. But this time they don't come back to fight individually. All those bones and remains begin to fuse into a grotesque and giant mass, mixing until they form a new abomination. A huge, quadrupedal, furry beast armed with sharp claws, a head made of pure bone, and a long, disgusting tongue. An authentic nightmare chimera rises before them, leaving Yagi and Hanazaki speechless, wondering what the hell that thing is and how they are supposed to defeat it. Rito, like any self-respecting villain, decides to take a technical pause to explain the specs of his new pet. He warns them that this abomination carries a poison even more lethal than the Hydras and that it is faster than any existing magic beast. And with a mocking tone that makes you want to delete him with one hit, he wishes them good luck before unleashing the beast. The chimera doesn't wait for a second invitation and launches itself at them at an absurd speed. But Yagi, proving that reflexes can't be bought at the store, reacts instantly and lands a hit so brutal that it leaves a huge hole in its chest, piercing it from side to side in pure One Punch Man style. However, the celebration is short-lived. The chimera activates its regeneration hacks and, at a massive speed, heals completely. Where a second ago there was a mortal hole, now only a sad scratch remains. And before Yagi can process what happened, the beast counterattacks with a tail whip, hitting him with such force that it sends him flying straight against the wall, leaving him plastered on the concrete. Hanazaki starts cold sweating, completely in disbelief seeing that his tank, Yagi, has been taken out of combat with a single hit. But standing frozen in the middle of a fight has a high price. For being distracted watching his partner, the chimera takes advantage of the slip-up and lands a direct claw swipe, tearing his abdomen and leaving him with some pretty serious wounds. Elena, completely ignoring the imminent danger, runs desperately towards Hanazaki with the intention of healing him, acting like the support nobody asked for. But the chimera, who has a lot of bloodlust and zero manners, switches targets instantly. Hanazaki, watching the disaster in slow motion, screams at the top of his lungs for her to fall back, but the warning arrives with lag. It's too late. The beast is already a millimeter away from Elena, jaws open and ready to turn her into its dinner. A brutal impact is heard and blood splatters everywhere. Everything seems to indicate a game over for the girl. But surprisingly, Elena is still there, intact. Confused, she looks up and finds a living wall. It's Oni Yagi, who has unleashed his hybrid form and is tanking the chimera's attack like a champ, taking the bite directly on his shoulder to protect her. However, Yagi doesn't even flinch. Far from complaining about the pain of having giant fangs stuck in his flesh, he looks at the beast with determination and drops a death sentence. "I got you, bastard." Elena and Hanazaki are left with their mouths open at such a display of testosterone, while Rito, from his throne, loses his composure for the first time and asks what the hell is happening. And the answer arrives in the wildest way possible. Immediately after, Yagi opens his own jaws and returns the favor to the beast, delivering a brutal bite and ripping off a chunk of meat cleanly. Rito is left completely shocked, watching live and direct as his enemy is having his pet for lunch. The chimera tries desperately to activate its regeneration, but Yagi has entered frenzy mode and keeps taking bites at an absurd speed, eating so fast that the beast's regeneration simply can't keep up with the dragon's appetite. Rito, fed up with watching his pet become the enemy's lunch, decides to bring out his programmer skills again and, with a simple command, makes the chimera disappear from existence. Right at that instant, the adrenaline leaves Yagi, who finally collapses to the ground, defeated by the brutal blood loss after his feast. But Rito gives no truce. With a digital snap, he summons the chimera again, which appears respawned, with the health bar at max and shiny as new. Elena goes into absolute panic, and rightly so. Yagi is on the ground and Hanazaki is wounded, which means her tanks and attackers are practically out of combat. Rito lets out a ruthless laugh, enjoying the smell of desperation, and while insulting them calling them useless, orders his Chimera 2.0 to proceed to end their miserable lives. But just when it looked like the credits were rolling, the Vial of Purgatory decides to steal the show. The artifact begins to emit a sinister light and, suddenly, slimy red tentacles burst from inside, changing the genre of the fight to cosmic horror. Rito is left with a "what the F*** CK is this?" face, totally confused, but his reflexes act fast. He tries to contain the anomaly by encapsulating the artifact inside a sort of high-tech digital cube. However, that thing doesn't care about firewalls. The tentacles exert such absurd pressure that they break the digital barrier like it was wet paper. Visibly desperate now, Rito starts spamming the same trick over and over, locking the artifact in layer after layer of cubes, trying to bury it under tons of code. But it is completely useless. The brute force of whatever is coming out of there is unstoppable, and the tentacles destroy every prison they put on top, breaking free again and again. Rito doesn't look so confident anymore. In fact, he's pretty irritated and blood starts coming out of his nose from pure mental overexertion, wondering desperately why the hell that thing won't stop. His processing capacity reaches the limit, and since he can't keep so many programs open at once, he loses connection with his pet. The chimera collapses and crumbles, ceasing to be a threat. While Rito continues fighting uselessly to dominate the vial, we see that his impenetrable defense starts to fail. His magic shield weakens visibly, cracking little by little under the pressure. Hanazaki, who has been waiting patiently for this precise instant, exploits the bug in the defense and fires an arrow that goes through the shield like paper and sticks directly into Rito's hand, forcing him to drop the artifact due to the pain. The vial hits the ground and Hanazaki, returning the mockery, tells Rito that it seems he also reached his mana limit. Rito, frustrated and cornered, can only click his tongue in rage. And then the inevitable happens. The vial begins to crack more and more until it explodes into pieces, and of course, from inside emerges Hasuda himself, making an epic entrance and announcing that he is here, as if he were All Might himself coming to save the day. Rito, with his face twisted, asks him how the hell he got out, screaming that that is technically impossible according to the artifact's rules. But Hasuda, with the calm of someone playing with the developer console, answers him to get ready and drops the universal truth of video games. There is always a cheat code for everything.